Crossover. Oh, killer crossover.
Just crossover.
It just crossed him over instantly. Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
Time for the crossover, powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. Hello, Matt, Josh.
Hi.
How you guys doing?
Doing great. Doing great. Very happy to be here.
Yeah.
I love this weekend.
You do.
I love the Derby.
That has been made very clear.
Very big Derby guy. I will say.
What is it about it? Why
I have a connection with my father and my grandfather, for sure. I would say they loved horse racing. They passed that down to me. Now, granted, I've not had the access in my life to go to horse tracks or anything like that because they're just
coming
not
soon.
Hopefully,
but you don't get to watch it with your dad.
No, but when
your dad wants to come in, we'll take him to Columbus and he can go to.
We can show him our exposed wires.
I tried getting
at the airport.
I'll tell him this much though: if he wears the blue quarter zip, I'm going to tell him he has to change.
I tried getting him on the show today. I asked him if he wanted to call in.
He said you couldn't get him.
I couldn't book him. Yeah, I couldn't land him.
Tough.
Yeah.
Didn't ask early enough.
Yeah. No, literally, he was like, "Oh, I wish you asked me earlier. I just haven't prepared yet." And
prepared, like for the Derby.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's like, I don't want to come on, not be prepped. And I'm
this
like,
sounds like you when
That's
Happer
right.
wanted to do the game, and you're like, no, I don't know all my info yet.
yeah, but
I haven't made my
also once again, we are at I would never do that with you because I know it's a 20 horse race.
Are you sure?
I'm probably I stand nothing to gain.
I feel like you're in a great spot. You're obviously going to
Hypothetically,
win.
Who would your 3 horses be? This doesn't count for anything.
Oh,
you can't
God.
be made fun of for.
Yeah, aren't you doing this as a segment on your show today? You're making picks, right?
The 14, the 6.
Who are they? Tell me who they are.
Potente, Commandment, and I'd probably do either So Happy or the Puma. But I really like the 19 too, Golden Tempo. But I mean,
Didn't you yell at Lauren yesterday for picking Commandment?
There's a difference between putting him in your exactas and a difference between betting him to win, Josh.
Okay.
Okay. Are
Just
you
wanna
trying to
Do you
clarify.
think he's a safe horse?
There's nothing
I
that
already
he's
forgot
shown.
Happer's horse, and there's no way he remembers what he picked.
He
Correct.
hasn't shown any reason as to why he's not going to be there at the very end in his prep races. And he's going to be in the 6th pole. He's going to be about 6 lengths back from the lead when the pace is set. When we swing around for the stretch, he's going to be right there. He's going to have to navigate, through some track.
The horses will have to
kickback.
run against the horses. Indeed.
I will say one of the most amazing things about the Derby and being there in person and having the vantage point that I did is that the spacing is absolute. Like there's nowhere to move at all.
Yeah, they don't.
Their
yeah.
ability to maneuver is actually unbelievable.
It's they're like
what jockeys actually do
It's
is
insane.
so unbelievable.
it's a phenomenal observation from you. I also think too,
Thank you.
people forget. Like people sometimes think jockeys are driving cars, like they think they're maneuvering.
Blind car.
Yeah. Literally, like they are animals. They are driving animals. Animals are going to do things that you don't want them to do. They are just going to act naturally in a way that it's like it does not matter how you jockey the horse. The horse is going to do something.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the fact that you have like Irad Ortiz Jr. who can just put a horse wherever the hell that he wants. People are just like, they look at what he does, to your point, and they're like, oh, he's just a jockey. Where it's like, that dude's a magician. That like it's ridiculous what he does. And Mike's right. He has no space to operate. And yet he finds it, and he's got all the dirt coming up in his face, and he just pushes a horse like he's a car. Right?
I always
Where he wants
wonder
to
if
be.
the jockeys want to get off and hop on to another horse while they're running in
Just
there.
horse hopping.
Yeah.
That would add if you added
You
that
have to hop at least one horse.
For some reason, all I have in my head is like a 1950s Western of like the guy like riding the horse and he's jumping off to jump on the wild horse.
What would the horse do,
tame
Matt?
it?
What would it notice?
Yes, it would notice.
Would it like it?
It would hate it.
Okay.
It would hate it completely. It would flip
I'm
out. The
assuming
horse.
horses don't like the racing. to
Yeah,
begin with.
the
That's
hor-
kind of the unspoken
They are getting
part of all
whipped
of
the
this.
entire time.
Not
so-
the entire time.
I mean, a lot of it.
No, there's a limit on how many times you can whip a horse.
Really? How many?
Tricked into the chute.
Let me look.
They really hit him pretty good at the end.
They do.
They're really smacking the crap out of him.
I don't know the exact number, but I know that
I did not know that there's a limit.
There was a jockey
I've
that
never
was
heard this.
there was a jockey that was punished for whipping his horse too many times.
Is it a know
Who
it
is
when you see
counting
it
this?
situation?
How is anyone able to see?
I'd like to
Jockeys-
apply for the job horse whip counter.
According to Google says that a jockey is permitted to use the whip a maximum of 6 times during a race.
No way.
That doesn't seem
No
right.
Um,
They're going
6
like
visible times.
at least that right out of the gate, and
Yeah.
then probably that on the last straightaway too.
there are, I will say, there's a lot of times when it looks like they're whipping them, but they're not like whipping them.
Okay.
They're either like nudging their
So now we have
shoulder.
a whip versus whip distinction.
There is a difference between like, I mean, there are times where it's like that MF, he's whipping, you know,
So
but
it's
then
like Cool Whip or Miracle Whip.
a
There's
little
huge
bit,
difference
yeah.
between
Like
the
there's
two.
you could be a savant about it, you know. You can.
Sovereignty, the jockey who rode
There you
Sovereignty,
go.
was fined for over whipping the horse.
He won the Derby last year.
Was that last year?
That was last year.
$30,000 fine.
Yeah.
Over whipping.
So now,
Seems
granted,
like a
worth
small
it.
price to pay for the win.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, 30 grand's a lot.
Yeah, but you want a bit like you want a lot of
For
money.
a winning jockey.
Yeah.
I don't know. I actually
And I'm
don't
sure
know.
the jockey's not paying the 30 grand.
These guys though have to race so much in order to
Winning
make a lot of
jockey
money.
typically earns $310,000.
I
A
had
standard
a high
10%.
school
Still
classmate
10% gut.
Raced at he wasn't in the televised Derby race, but he was racing at the Kentucky Derby. He's raced in the Belmont, the Preakness, all
And
of it.
Churchill.
Yeah, he's done all of it.
So
he
sick.
was a second baseman, all of 5'1".
I was gonna say.
He's basically a bug boy, which
He's
I'm
Chuck
guessing you know
Knobloch.
that terminology.
So I'm reading here that the whip is actually made of a Nerf-like material and is not causing any damage. It's more of
Well,
a.
then why is there the penalty to whip
That's
to over whip them?
optics, maybe.
Man, we could have had Channing on as a guest this week. I didn't even think about that.
You should have done that. That would have been sick.
Well, we didn't come up with this topic until just now. Now I'm interested.
There's
Well,
also
Preakness,
He's got a
Belmont.
Wikipedia page.
he has a whole Wikipedia page. I want to be famous enough to have a Wikipedia page in my life. That'd be cool.
You heard
you
him,
could make
Internet?
one yourself.
He drew
Yeah.
a hell of a lot of walks. I'll tell you that much.
Really?
Yeah, he's super short.
Well, yeah. His strike zone had to be very, very minuscule.
Oh man, should we make a Wikipedia page for Matt?
That'd be so bad. There's
Probably.
also there's also
Probably,
there's also a weight limit for the jockeys too, where you can't be under 126 pounds.
Oh. Under?
Under, you can't be under.
Oh, really?
If you're under, they will put weight
Dang.
on the horse to make sure that he's carrying 126.
Hmm.
Same thing with there's a weight limit in like F1 racing too, where it's like the F1 the guys who are driving the F1 cars, they can't be lower than I think it's like 90 kilos or something like that.
That makes
That's
sense
what-
because the cars would probably fly away because they're so light.
Well, there are some guys whose seats are like 15 kilograms
Yeah, right.
because it's like they have to add that extra weight to the car. So yeah,
The horse, I don't know.
I will admit, the whipping looks like it happens way more than 6 times.
That's what I'm saying.
Way more than 6 times.
I've seen them.
Me too. I've been right there. I'm right there with you. I'm afraid that if we were to, I would like to earn my way for someone else to think it's incumbent upon them to make a wiki. I don't just want a wiki. I want someone to be like, oh, that guy's been around. He should have a wiki.
What do you
think
think-
you'd be the type of person that would curate your wiki?
No, I would look at my wiki a lot, but I would never edit my own wiki.
You can always kind of tell who curates their
Mhm.
wiki.
What do you think
Really?
the threshold is for when you should feel like should have one?
Like age?
No, like accomplishment.
Oh. Like, I think John Bishop should have a wiki,
He might.
He
might.
Like,
Yeah, he has a notable position as the Creighton play-by-play.
and he's been a part of Omaha, broadcast, or Nebraska broadcasting, for a very long time.
He might. He might.
So I don't know. I think you just have to be significant. I think you have to do something significant. If I did something that I deemed significant and I did not have a Wikipedia page, I would be upset about it.
Really?
That's not our John Bishop.
Yeah. There's a couple John Bishops out there. Be
Mhm.
careful.
John Bishop,
Um,
sportscaster.
they're bad John Bishop?
Oh, yeah.
There's porn John Bishop.
Oh, really?
I think so.
John
right?
Bishop has a Wikipedia page.
He
Sportscaster.
does. It's out of date.
Yeah, it is. We have to edit this.
Is a sportscaster for NRG Media.
Mm.
He is the radio voice of the Creighton Blue Jays basketball and
That's right.
baseball teams, calls the preliminary games of the College World Series
Oh.
for Westwood One, and is co-host of Unsportsmanlike Conduct for KOZN.
All that stuff pretty much still tracks.
We're Usher Media now. Bishop grew up in Fremont, Nebraska, and graduated from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. After graduating in 1994, he became the voice of Nebraska Cornhuskers baseball and worked pre- and post-game radio on Cornhusker football broadcasts. He was the television voice of Nebraska State boys and girls high school basketball championships for KOLN, KGIN from 1996 to 2010. Bishop subsequently became the voice of the Blue Jays in 2006. In 2012, he transferred from KLIN to NRG Media sister station, KOZN, in August 2012, Usher Media. In 2013, Bishop was given the additional responsibility of men's basketball play-by-play voice and began working with Nick Baugh as analyst. Nick Baugh does not have a Wikipedia page. Since 2012, Bishop has also served as one of the College World Series play-by-play men, working alongside Kevin Kugler, who does have a Wikipedia page, to call all games but the championship.
See, if I was Nick Baugh, I'd be upset I didn't have a wiki.
Yeah.
I think Nick has done enough to earn a Wikipedia page.
Studio host.
Studio
radio
host,
guy.
yeah.
Mhm.
Westwood One, NCAA tournament.
Former college basketball
Has
player.
been on TV calling multiple college basketball games, some of the bigger college
And
Does
not
basketball
Connor
games.
Onion have a Wikipedia?
Oh,
good-
great question.
I'm betting yes.
I'm looking at the Wikipedia page from
Really? I gotta text Connor Onion.
from the 2000. What year is this? 2023 College World Series, and they have listed on their radio broadcast assignments, and they have it right. So whoever
I think John did this.
whoever edited this, no, John doesn't have time to do this. Whoever did this, they got all the games right, because I remember it was kind of weird that year where we kind of mixed around a little bit. So did they do it for the remaining year? I don't know what led me to this page, but let's see. Every Wikipedia page is a different Wikipedia page, I suppose. So this one just says radio. NERG Media will provide nationwide radio coverage of the Men's College World Series through its Omaha station, Cozen, in association with Westwood One. It will also stream all Men's College World Series games at westwoodonesports.com. But then it doesn't have our names on there. The last one had our names on there. But then when it listed my name, it wasn't blue, which means I don't have a Wikipedia page.
Mhm.
That's how you know.
That's how you know.
You don't have a Wikipedia page.
I don't have a wiki. I want a wiki one day. I just DM Connor Onion and told him he needs to get a Wikipedia page. Should probably tell Nick Baugh that too. I feel like it's just 'cause it's a stance of significance if you have a Wikipedia page.
Yeah, it could be.
Like if you
or it could
have,
mean nothing at all.
It could, but I think it's probably more so on the former as opposed to the latter. I think
Again, it
if,
just depends on.
if I was
like-
looking somebody up and they had a Wikipedia page, I immediately think they're a little bit more important than maybe I first recognized.
Some people make their own Wikipedia page to make you think that they're more important than they
See, I
actually
don't
are.
want those people are insufferable, and I don't want to be those people.
You
How
are
do you
right.
tell the difference?
Yeah,
Exactly.
there's no way to know.
So if you are immediately going off of the track of this guy's cool because he has a Wikipedia page, I'd think twice.
I'm not going off of him being cool.
Or, I'm sorry, important, whatever.
Yeah. No, you definitely have to weed through.
What do you
But
think?
like Mike said, you could kind of tell something.
Well, you can tell who curates their Wikipedia page. That doesn't mean that they created it.
Sure,
It just
good
means
point.
that they're very particular about how they're presented. What thing of significance do you think you could accomplish that would allow you to have a Wikipedia page?
That's what I was wondering.
Be a host here in Omaha for a very long time. I think is one of them. If I were a
Clearly,
long-
that doesn't work.
Well, John's got one.
Most of that
Nick
stuff.
Baugh didn't.
Yeah, Nick Baugh
Nick
didn't.
Baugh didn't. I think you.
Josh
but
Peterson doesn't have one.
Josh doesn't have one.
I don't think so.
Would
He's been doing it for 100 years.
I think my two would either be on a panel show or host a show in a very, very big market.
I think you got to do something more than once. Yeah, I think you're on the right track with doing something for a long time. If you just show up as a guy, like they have you on PTI once
You're done.
I don't think you get a
No.
Wikipedia off that.
No.
The Zones Wikipedia page also riddled with inaccuracies. If anyone wants to update that,
Maybe you
for
should
us.
curate it, Josh.
No,
I think like,
Seems
yeah,
like
if you-
something to put down
if I
for the
showed
next
up-
meeting.
like I always wanted to be on Around the Horn, RIP. If I was on Around the Horn though, like 3 times, I don't think that's earning me a Wikipedia.
You got to
page.
be Woody Page.
Exactly.
We should do an around the horn style crossover.
I
where
would-
Josh can just mute people and assign random points.
I would love that.
that would be fun for me.
What is Tony Reale doing? What's he
Stats.
really? No, he's not doing
Stat boy.
stats.
I think he's got a Substack.
Yeah, everybody does nowadays. It seems like
He had like
That
a
and
freak
podcast.
out online. Is the last time I remember
Really?
someone talking about Tony Reale.
Oh yeah, he's looking for a new stat boy.
I thought there was a rumor that he was going to do like Around the Horn, but with influencers or with like sports trivia people, and that's what he was
He
going
should.
for. I think that would be very entertaining. But at the same time, I think Tony Reale is talented to the point where he doesn't need to go to YouTube for his next job.
I would agree with that.
He should be on a main network like Fox or FS1 or Wake Up Barstool. Tony Reale to Barstool. Would that work?
Yeah, someone as sympathetic and caring about humanity as Tony Reality would fit in very well on Wake Up Barstool
With Big T.
and
They
Fat
had-
Rob.
I could not imagine the banter between Tony Reale and Big T off air as they discuss the ails of society and how we could fix them.
Be concerning.
What if Tony Reale did a Barstool Around the Horn? I think Tony Reale.
Why are we trying to get Tony Reale jobs all the time?
I just want him to be around. I miss Tony Reale. I haven't seen his leather coat
That
and
would,
his black pants in a while.
I would watch that show.
Yeah. It would just be Tony flipping out. He'd be like, all of you are idiots. I used to do this with real broadcasters and real writers.
And Jay Mariotti.
Jay Mariotti.
Oh man.
And that other guy, Bob Bryan.
I love Bob,
Bob
Ryan.
Ryan.
Who is the LA guy?
Bill
Plaschke?
Bill Plaschke, yeah.
TJ Simers.
Good one.
You have Kevin Blackistone.
Jay Donde.
Yeah.
Tim
Bomani,
Kalashaw.
Bomani Jones was great on it. Pablo Torre made his way up on there.
So you know more of the like recent people. I
Sarah
think.
Spain was a
And I
big.
would-
Yeah,
mine was
She's in the
more
new
of
category.
She
Yeah.
was in the new category. Mina Kimes was
The
had a quick
original-
little cup of coffee there.
Courtney Cronin.
Courtney Cronin was the late one that really came on.
Yeah.
Like she was one of the last.
She covered the
ones.
Vikings and then jumped over to the Bears after
Yeah,
Jeff
JD.
Darlington, unfortunately.
Jeff Dickerson.
Or, yeah.
Yeah.
We've received a tweet.
A tweet from Tony Reale.
No, I
Yeah.
wish. From your producer.
It was
Joey
Oh,
Colbert.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, is it an update from Warren's house?
No,
Yeah.
no.
Oh, you sent him to Warren's house? Like you
Yeah.
sent me to Warren's
could have.
house?
He
I-
would know which one it is, though.
Yeah, I didn't find it.
If I were to have a wiki page, not only would I like my title to be producer of Happer and Schaefer, I also want to be known as, quote, one of many NFL schedule predictors.
That's true. We would put that on there for
that
you,
would
Joey.
be inaccurate. One of a few NFL schedule predictors.
He said one of
No, he said one of many.
many.
That's
There's
taking issue with the quantity.
there's
at stake
not.
here.
I'm Joey.
He's
To
not
your,
taking issue with the general concept, just the idea of many or few.
I'm pulling a Happer on Joey right now. It's many. It's not many. It's few. It's not many like you.
Pulling a Happer, just
Joey's
drawing
one of a
line
kind.
on distinction.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I'm trying to look at the first panel on
Pulling Happer is just making sure
On
everybody's
Around the Horn?
correct.
Around the Horn.
I like this.
Yeah, so
We should have done an Around the Horn draft.
so Kellerman was the original host.
Yeah, not great.
Woody Page, Jay Mariotti, Bob Ryan, and TJ Simers.
Yeah.
There you go. All of which were
What was
mentioned.
the what was the oh god
Other
the
early
Boston woman, the Boston woman,
Jackie
Jackie
McMullen,
McMullen.
Jackie
Yeah.
Mack.
Jackie Mack.
Other early contributors who offered frequently, who appeared frequently in the first season, including Michael Hawley, Kevin Blackistone, Jay Donde, Bill Plaschke. Man, I have a whole this has a Wikipedia page of all the people that ever became panelists, which is great. All-time leader in appearances is obviously Woody Page.
Yep.
Any guesses for second?
Calshaw.
You got it.
Yeah.
Third.
Good one.
Plaschke.
Ryan,
Got it.
Ryan,
Plaschke.
Ryan fourth.
No. Blackistone fourth.
Oh, Blackistone.
Jay Donde, Jay Mariotti, Jackie McMullen, and then Israel Gutierrez.
Yeah.
Made a late run
Wow.
and actually beat out
He's-
Bob Ryan.
He's the Tanner bald guy. He was like a part of the Lebitard group.
Was
I believe-
Levitard ever a participant on Around the
I
Horn?
don't
He always
believe-
filled in
No.
on PTI.
No.
Yeah, always filled in on PTI. Stugatz got on Around the Horn one time.
I think Dan was a little bit too big for Around the Horn.
Mm.
I think he was a little. I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense, but I just never. I never looked at Dan as a Around the Horn guy.
Okay, here are some people who made one appearance on Around the Horn. Somebody named Christine Williamson, who did a show in October of 2023 and won. Malika Andrews.
Okay.
Bruce Arthur, the first Canadian panelist.
Whoa.
Hey,
Wow, what a
And
what a
then
Jackie
note.
Robinson of Around the Horn.
two more one-timers, Lil Wayne
Wow.
and Mark Cuban.
Okay.
Each
Incredible.
had an appearance. And then the next least with 4 all-time appearances is Diana Rossini.
I was about to say, having the second least and having that amount of times is indicative of we had you on, we tried it, we didn't really like having you here, and then you said that name.
This is like the break in, case of emergency filling.
Literally, like, okay, if you go in 4 times, it's very clear that they tried it out with you, and it just didn't work.
Stugatz
Well,
got
you also need
16.
to have like
Whoa.
people not be available too.
Yeah, I mean they
But I
did
don't know
have
how consistent the lineup was at the end. That was always a fascinating thing about Around the Horn is you would turn it on, you'd never know who was going to be on.
for me. I feel like it got pretty consistent down the line.
Yeah, I think in the
'Cause-
early days you were sort of at the mercy of like what people were covering.
When
So if the
I
Spurs were making a run, Kalishaw would be probably less available in
Sure.
June,
sure
but then would be the most available in the fall because
Mhm.
there wasn't NFL and San
is
Antonio.
Isola in the top 10?
Yeah. He
I
was
s-
right after Bob Ryan.
Isola made a lot. I liked Frank Isola. He made a lot of.
Actually, you know what? He had more appearances than Bob Ryan.
Yeah.
He had more appearances than Pablo S.
Was
Torre.
Jamel Hill guest
Ooh.
on this?
Oh, good one.
Great one.
Just pulling random people.
I know.
2000.
That's another person I haven't thought of in a while.
She has been tweeting a lot.
She is
recently.
always
She's still
tweeting
about
all
Brandon
the
Riley's
time.
not catch that was called a catch.
I don't know, but she was tweeting a lot about Diana Rossini.
Yeah.
Oh well,
Yeah.
that
A-
doesn't surprise.
A lot.
She
a
did
lot
not
about
do any Around the Horn episodes.
Really?
Apparently.
That surprises.
Oh
me.
no, 79 actually.
Yeah, I was
There
gonna
it
say,
is.
I remember her
She
being-
had to have been on
I
there.
remember her being on there.
She actually did more than TJ Simers, who won the first Around the Horn episode.
TJ Simers wasn't particularly good at it.
They ever do an around the horn like?
Bill Plaschke was. He's probably my favorite of that.
Maybe I missed this, but they ever did like a around the horn championship season? Like, hey, you win.
They did do a tournament of
I
champions.
don't know
Okay.
that they could really because the scoring was so nonsensical.
Mhm.
But I feel
that
like
was what was great about the shows. It made
No,
no,
I agree.
sense.
But if like in the last, maybe in like they go, hey, this next week we're gonna like do an
Like
elimination
the
style
Jeopardy tournament
at the end of
champions.
every year, though. Like we're gonna do these next 2 weeks.
The
At the
Wikipedia
end, do it in like the summer when nothing is going on in sports, right? Other than baseball. Like, hey, these 2 weeks around the horn, season end. Whoever wins the tournament is season 23 champion. That
The
would have been something.
The Wikipedia page does have some stats attached to each of the people.
Mhm.
So Woody Page, all-time leader in wins and appearances,
700, correct?
700 wins, yeah. Or 700, 700 wins, 2,900 appearances. 2015 and 2024 Tournament of Champions winner,
Oh, there you go.
71-70 versus Bob Ryan, and 20th anniversary show winner averaged 20.9 points per show. He's basically LeBron James.
He's the GOAT.
Incredible.
I would argue, though, that early on, Woody Page was competing against plumbers and dentists,
No way. He competed against some of the best, Kalishaw and Plaschke. I mean, that was the golden era.
Happer sounds like, I don't know, man. Bob Cousy was good. Do you know who was good at basketball?
Plaschke
Bob
was
Cousy.
good.
You mean that Kalishaw is worse than
No.
like the dudes
no.
the
Hey,
schmucks they got walking out there today?
Whoa.
The YouTubers?
Don't call Courtney Cronin a schmuck. She's great at her job.
She's a schmuck.
No, she's not a schmuck. You take that out your mouth.
She's 7th all time in points per show.
She's a phenomenal reporter. In this house, Courtney Cronin's a saint.
I don't even know who Courtney Cronin
She
is.
reports on the Bears.
Oh,
Previously the Vikings.
that
Previously.
explains that.
She's very good at her job.
She is very good at her job.
She also went to Indiana. Hoosiers.
Nice.
J-Man goes around the schmucks. That's what our version of around the horn would be.
Bunch
Or
of
schmuckhorn.
smucks.
I don't know. Let's get a little dangerous.
Yeah.
This is how I started to know. That show is how I started to know about like the existence of columnists. I didn't really know what that meant or what that did.
Because you probably never watched the sport reporters or whatever.
I did watch
good
sports
show.
reporters, but I didn't really get it. They were I didn't understand what their actual purpose was. I thought it was, I don't know what I thought it was. More of a debate show or
Did
something
you ever
like
watch
that.
Outside the Lines?
Yeah.
I like that. I miss that show a lot.
Bob
That
Lee.
was when ESPN
Jeremy
kinda had
Shep,
a little more going for 'em.
ESPN.
It's funny. My Around the Horn experiences, they didn't have to be columnists when I first started watching it. Like they could be on TV. Like
Oh,
they
sure.
didn't have to.
No,
be,
they were just talkers.
They didn't have
Yeah.
to be associated with a newspaper in order to be on the show. They could like. There were times where I would just be watching ESPN and whatever, and then like they'd go to Around the Horn, and the guy who was doing the beat report for whomever just happened to be on the. Oh, okay. Hey,
Well, they
he's
did
on
put
Around the
Lil
Horn.
Wayne on there.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
You know, but like it was. I had to learn that it was a vessel to get columnists on TV. I didn't know that before.
Yeah,
It's a great idea when you think about it. Just be like, hey, we got a bunch of great columnists who could probably be on TV. How do we get them on TV?
I think its original point was like it's a regional, like you're supposed to get these different perspectives from these different regional things.
Around the Horn is basically around the country, just not around the country. It's around the horn.
Phenomenal.
Right.
Missed
Which
that show.
I wish there was more of that. We don't have any of that.
No, you just get Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah. Did we replace Around the Horn with anything?
No.
No,
I don't know
yet.
what's on
You
television.
just have Stephen A. Smith,
Yeah.
and then Stephen A.
SVP
Smith,
keeps
Yeah.
telling people I'm
then
not
afternoon
doing it.
Stephen A. Smith
But we're gonna have Sport Jeopardy now, which I cannot wait to make an
with Stephen A.
appearance.
Smith.
No, that's gonna be with Joe Buck.
Joe
Wait
Buck.
until
Oh, that's
they
right. Because we don't
overuse
have
him.
the what was it? Can't remember the list of people that included I Show Speed.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
the YouTubers.
Ravel with Ravel,
Yeah.
dude,
Yeah,
the dude
Ravel
perfect
Street,
guys,
Yeah.
the dude
Dude
perfect.
perfect guys, yeah.
That'd be terrible. That would be terrible. Alrighty, that was Crossover, powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. It's Derby Day, baby.
tomorrow.
Thanks, Connor.
Yeah.
Middays with Matt coming up next.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people.
Whose car are we gonna take?
I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest.
That's an absolutely horse crap call. Make room for Daddy. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
Chicago is.
This is Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
We are live and rolling here on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network. Matt Masker, Josh Odson, a special edition of Middays with Matt.
This is like on Fridays back in the day. They'd say it was a very special episode of your favorite sitcom. It's a very special episode of Middays with Matt.
Look, everybody knows I love the Kentucky Derby.
Loves the ponies.
I love the ponies. I love the ponies at Churchill Downs on the first Saturday of May. It's going to be a beautiful, beautiful weekend. We have been working up to this day. Little have you all known, I've played you like a fiddle. I've played you like every now and then I would just sprinkle, hey, this prep race happened. Hey, the Arkansas Derby happened. Hey, the Florida Derby happened. Hey, the Fountain of Youth happened. Hey, did you see what happened at San Felipe? Did you see what happened at the Santa Anita Derby?
These are all things I'm familiar with
because
of you.
You all just kind of, whatever. And who would watch that? And who would scoff at that? Who's got the answers now, buddy boy? Okay? We do. And we've worked our way up here. And we're to the point where, yeah, I am looking spiffy today. I have my suit on. I have my handkerchief right here.
You look dapper.
I've never owned a handkerchief before until last year when I wanted to own one for the Kentucky Derby. And now I have my Derby handkerchief. We're 0-1 with it. We are very excited to be here. We are very excited to talk about horse racing today. Very excited to have you all listening to us at 1620 The Zone AM here in Omaha and 97.7 The Zone in Central Nebraska. It'll be a very fun show today. I know we might be sipping on a little mint juleps. We might be smoking a stogie or two. So we'll have some fun with you over the radio and on the Zone Zone TV YouTube channel. Go ahead and subscribe and give us a follow over there and join our phenomenal.
It's going to be like Mad Men this afternoon.
It will be like Mad Men. That's what the money is for. That's
Spark Notes.
That's the only quote I know from Don Draper. Yeah. Hear that his suit though is in the Smithsonian, correct? Did you know
that would not surprise me.
That show was a really, really big deal, it seems like. A lot of people your age really freak out about.
It's a good show, yeah.
Is it one of your favorites?
I haven't finished it, but
wow, that's very Matt McMaster.
Well, I've watched the first is it 4 or 5 seasons.
And you were just kind of like, I don't need an end to this?
No, I just kind of slow playing it.
Were you a Wire guy?
Yeah.
What's I don't even know what the Wire's about, by the way.
It's about Baltimore.
Okay.
The ins and outs of Baltimore.
Is it like Sopranos-y, sort of?
What do you mean?
Is it like Mob?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay, good to know. I should look more into the
Focuses on gangs and politics.
Okay. I mean, that's kind of the Sopranos. A little bit. We're deviating from the path here. We don't need to embarrass it myself over
the
whether
Derby.
or not I know about the Wire. The Derby is here. We have some horsies to talk about. We have some bets to talk about. What am I going to do? Am I going to put it all on the exacta? Am I going to put it all on? Am I going to sprinkle it on a bunch of horses, a bunch of long shots? It's a 20-horse race. Okay. I mean, the odds are stacked against you from the beginning. This is a Derby where we don't have necessarily your top dog. We don't have your super favorite. You don't have a Justify or a Journalism or an American Pharaoh where they come in and you go, that's the horse to beat. There's actually kind of a tier of those types of horses. Some would say it's an ultimate chance to make money, an ultimate chance to have some fun. And so in saying that, we will have a special guest on today. Chase Sessoms from the Sports Gambling Podcast Network will come on to talk about his Derby picks. We will be sprinkling our Derby picks throughout the day. I have my sheet right here, my Churchill
Whoa.
Downs official sheet.
That's
right here.
like a
the official scorebook of the Kentucky Derby, if you might want to say that. Yes, there's some circling there. There's some X's out there. There's some notes that have been taken. It's a big weekend. It's a very big day. All right. I've got my, where did I put my,
What do you need? What do you need? This is rummaging. Oh, we got stogies. Yeah.
I'll just be, this will be me all day for the people who are watching on YouTube. I'm just going to open up my pamphlet here.
This really is going to be like Mad Men. Why don't you hold that paper up a little higher for the camera? There you go. There you go, Chief. Yeah. Look at this guy. He looks ready to bet on a horse.
Great radio.
I look ready to get wasted on a Friday.
We are going to do that and bet on horses. It is going to be a phenomenal episode of Middays, Matt, and we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to talk about. We have to talk about the NBA playoffs. Some things happened yesterday that I did not think that would happen.
Whoa.
I'm going to be real.
There were what, 3 games last night? Not only did they go the opposite way of which I thought they were all going to go, I think that like just the way it happened is not the way.
It's the manner in which, it's not even the result. It's the manner in which some of these things occur.
Could a church league team have scored more points than the Atlanta Hawks last night?
Great point. Nebraska basketball versus the Knicks yesterday. Who scores more points, the Hawks or just Price Sanford himself? That's how embarrassing it was.
They were consistently down 50.
You know it's bad when you get multiple text messages across multiple group chats amongst a bunch of different demographics. And what I mean by that is I had middle-aged men text me. I had old men text me. I had middle-aged men being the host of these shows text me. Okay. You are the only middle-aged men I hang out with.
Yeah. Okay.
Literally. I've had old men, my father, be like, what the hell is going on? Sometimes my dad will put me in a group chat with a bunch of other old men to like educate them on things that are going on.
Okay.
Like he'll put me in a group chat with his 4 other 65-year-old friends and be like, Matt, explain to them what 13 personnel is. And I'll like have to do it out of the kindness of my heart. I've had the high school group chat was going crazy. The college group chat was going crazy. Everybody was freaking out because the Atlanta Hawks laid an egg, pun intended. Okay. It was absolutely disgusting.
I sent my brother a screenshot of the halftime score.
Yes.
It was 83-36.
There was I believe there was at one point that the Knicks were up 101-40. I tuned in when I think it was like 52 to 108 or something like that. It was bad. It was very, very bad. Talking about somehow, though, in my opinion, the Atlanta Hawks performance yesterday was not the most pitiful performance that happened in playoffs.
Oh, no.
The Edmonton Oilers should be absolutely ashamed of this.
A disgrace to their nation.
A disgrace to their province. Okay?
Yeah.
I mean, it was to have the best player in the world, and some would go as, and not me, but some would go as far as to say Connor McDavid might be just the best pure hockey player of all time. To have that man on your team and to lose in the first round against the Anaheim Ducks of all franchises, are you kidding me? And then play the way that they did yesterday. I mean, to see a hockey team just get absolutely battered and beaten down to the point where they are broken is quite the sight to see. We were getting to the point when I was watching that hockey game, I was like, even if they somehow miraculously win this game, I don't know how you could feel good about yourself. They were sloppy, no back check, terrible changes, bad penalties, goaltending was awful, didn't know how to run their own offensive system. It was like they were playing tired, like they didn't know that their backs were against the wall and they were about to be sent home. And then Connor McDavid had, I don't want to say the gall, but definitely had the guts to say, oh, we're just an average team. I disagree with Connor McDavid. They were a bad team during this series. And congratulations to the Anaheim Ducks It's the first time in like 12 years that the Ducks have been some sort of relevant in the NHL, all the way back to the Getzlaf Perry days. If you know, you know. Remember Ryan Getzlaf? You remember that guy?
No.
Guy was pretty freaking awesome. Pretty freaking awesome hockey player.
I'm going to take your word on it.
Greatest day in Minnesota sport history?
That's what Platcat said.
It's up there.
Kind of sad, but
it's up there.
Yeah.
I mean, talking about a state that really hasn't had too much to hang their hat on over the last close to 25 years. I mean, it was a pretty phenomenal day. I'm very happy for Minnesota. Congratulations to your basketball team. You now have the honor of losing to the San Antonio Spurs in the second round.
Someone had to.
Their hockey team, though, I picked to go to the Stanley Cup final. Thank you for that. No thank you to our ghost dog. Just an absolutely terrible pick yesterday.
Whoa.
I mean, we lost 5-2. I mean, look, everybody loses bets, but to get blown out in a bet is a whole other conversation. We're going to have to put the ghost dog is on probation.
Whoa. Probationary ghost dog.
Probationary ghost dog.
I was my dog of the day while you were out was the Utah Mammoth.
Oh, did you win?
They lost in double overtime. So
That's a fine dog.
Okay, yeah.
Look, everybody knows that you can make a bet and you can lose it and you can say to yourself, that was a good bet.
You know what? We were right in theory.
That was a good bet. Like if I bet a plus 450 underdog to win and they lost on a last second shot, I go, that's a great bet. I was right there. I read that perfectly. It just, didn't bounce our way. While we are going to talk about Minnesota and everybody's very excited about Minnesota, very concerned about Denver. very, very concerned about what's going to happen with Mr. Nikola Jokic and his future with the Denver Nuggets. Obviously, and there will be idiots who, I'm just going to say it, who will go ahead on their sport talk shows that they get paid way too much money to be on that are broadcasted on linear television and prompt the question, should the Nuggets trade Nikola Jokic?
Oh, can I read a quote?
Oh, go ahead, please.
I have to find it first. This is from one of those aforementioned shows.
Yeah. Please do.
This is from Kendrick Perkins.
Oh, beautiful. I mean, you couldn't script it any better.
Yeah.
What did Perk say?
Quote, "We're not in Serbia, we're in America."
Yeah.
And he got punked yesterday.
Yeah.
When we get to talking about top 5 this and top 5 that of all time, we need to sit back and keep a cool booty.
Who was talking about Nikola Jokic's top 5 all time? Did you ever say he was better than Michael Jordan? No, you didn't. Did he ever? Did we ever say he was better than LeBron? No, we did not.
I did not.
Did we ever say that he was better than Tim Duncan? My ass sure as hell didn't.
He's more interesting a human being than Tim Duncan.
Well, I mean,
he loves horses just like
I
you.
was gonna say if Tim
probably
Duncan,
more.
If Tim way more. Okay, there are people like
Who do you think he's got tomorrow?
You know what? Can you imagine if our guest for Derby Day was Nikola Jokic?
Oh, what a get!
That would be an insane get. We tried getting some pretty good. Last year, I tried getting a NHL Hall of Famer to talk about horses with us.
Whoa.
Did not work out. Didn't try that again. This time, I before we ended up getting a very, very good guest, and I'm excited to talk to, and I think everybody should be excited to listen to. The guy's an expert. But we did try getting somebody who was affiliated with the Big East to come on the show, and unfortunately, that didn't work out. But the people who say that the Nuggets should think about trading Jokic, stop it, please stop it. For two, like
Platcast says it in the chat. Nugs and cap hell.
So we could have that conversation, okay? But the whole, do you potentially trade him? There was a quote here in this the CBS article. I pulled a couple of quotes from it, but there was one that I didn't write down. I'm trying to look for it, where it essentially lays out that. Okay, here it is. Jokic is the greatest player in the franchise history, and even if the team is nearing the end of this version of its life cycle, he personally is still relatively close to the peak of his powers. Denver has almost no history of attracting star free agents. They basically have no picks to trade, And even if they do eventually get their picks back, their lottery rules are about to change, likely making it more random than ever. Here's the big quote. It might be decades before the Nuggets have another player like Jokic. Between the bargain basement rookie deal he signed as a second-round pick, the artificially capped max contracts he's played on since, the literal revenue his presence has allowed the team to generate at the gate, and the hypothetical franchise valuation boost a period of sustained winning can generate, the amount of surplus value employee Nikola Jokic has generated for the Denver Nuggets is almost incalculable.
Okay, those first and last sentence don't jive with me.
Okay. Why?
They said well, it could be decades before you ever get a Jokic again. No,
they will never get a Jokic again.
You need to act as if this will never happen in your franchise's history.
Thank you.
Like
Thank you.
This is a never. You're never going to get this again.
Ever.
You need to act like that.
Ever. That's Josh. I love you.
Okay.
I read that and
I didn't know if that was the point of.
I go decades. I go. You're acting like this happens. Ask the Charlotte Hornets. Okay, they got Chris Paul and they shipped his ass away. They got Anthony Davis and they shipped his ass away.
Morning, Grandmama, Muggsy Bogues.
And it's just like it's one of those things where it's just some of these teams never get these guys. You never get these superstars.
Orlando Magic's still waiting
for their next Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like some of these franchises get them and they can't capitalize on them. Some of them never get them. Some of them are never graced to have these guys' presence. Ask Milwaukee Bucks fans how long they had to wait after Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Okay?
That's a great point.
The answer,
I mean, it was decades.
The answer was 50 years.
They had to wait half a century.
They
had
to wait
decades.
50 years to get another guy like that. Okay? I mean, it's one of those things where it's like you can't write that sentence and take it for granted. You may never get another guy like that. So, yeah, you got to figure it out, man. Can't trade this dude. You will never, ever. There's not a snowball's chance in hell that you would get another guy as valuable as a Nikola Jokic if you were to trade him. There isn't. Unless the San Antonio Spurs trade you Victor Wembanyama.
Oh, have they tried that?
No. I think the Spurs would laugh their ass off. So, no, you just get out. For the people who are like, oh, they should trade him or oh, they should look for value. No, what they should worry about is he's a free agent after next season. And there's a team that plays in California that has just coincidentally cleared up a bunch of cap space for the 2027 cycle.
The Sacramento Kings.
Nope.
Oh.
Nope. They also have a white European basketball player on their team.
The UCLA Bruins.
No, it's the Lakers.
The Lakers.
Look, I think Nikola Jokic would love to be in Denver his entire career until you tell him, would you like to play with Luka Doncic? To which he would go, yes, I go see my horses. Then I come.
Oh, no.
Can you imagine Jokic and Doncic as a Laker?
So many hard C's in there.
Celtics.
Yeah. Who would they root against? Would they have to root against the white guys? Celtics fans would be besides themselves.
What are we supposed to do? No, they would go, well, they didn't get the American white guys. They got the European white guys. Not around here. We get the Shire. We get the American white guys who have the Balkan last names. We get the Havlicek, but he's from Stony Brook, So there you go. We'll talk about the NBA and the NHL playoffs. Kind of already did. Talk more about the Derby. Brendan Sorsby, there's been some update on his status. We also have some very interesting quotes from Kirby Smart and Nick Saban, not necessarily regarding Sorsby, but also regarding just the kind of whole premise on gambling as a college athlete and how difficult that is to kind of manage. And so I think they were interesting perspectives that we're going to put out there and that we're going to talk about. There's also kind of an update as well in terms of Will Sorsby be able to go to the NFL supplemental draft and potentially be on an NFL roster? We have some insight on that, and also too, just what the hell is this draft not going to look like if he goes a whole year without playing football? Considering the fact that the guy is the type of dude where if he did have the type of season a lot of people were expecting him to have, which is a very good one with Texas Tech, could have ended up, not could have ended up, would have ended up being a first round draft pick. So a ultra expensive mistake. This might turn out to be from Brendan Sorsby. We will talk about that. We also will touch on Nebraska baseball, spring baseball, massive series this weekend. Nebraska baseball doing what Evan Bland in his article called a beautiful saying here. To just Evan wanted to communicate that the Huskers just can't F it up and lay an egg. They just have to handle business. But he didn't want to put it as bluntly as I put it. So he put it so eloquently as RPI maintenance is what he described, which is gorgeous, beautiful stuff from Evan. So we'll talk about an interesting weekend for Nebraska baseball where they made some changes in terms of their pitching rotation. We'll also talk about Nebraska softball hitting the road state, along with some other scores. We'll also talk about Husker football. A lot of conversation about the buy-in and the belief in Matt Rule and whether or not the fan base is being too negative. There's been a lot of fire about that on social media and Twitter. And up, John Bishop takes a lot of the heat, but I feel like it kind of started this whole thing. So, do I feel bad? Not really.
Arbitrary number picker, Matt McMaster.
A lot of people have been getting in fights, on Twitter that I was like, I didn't just say that one stat. I don't know if all this would have really occurred this week. It probably would have just occurred in a different week.
Red jacket, green jacket, who gives a bleep? 50th pick, 51st pick, who gives a bleep?
What an arbitrary number. Incredible. It was also incredible. You can reach out to us and get in on your show. I want to know your purpose. Let us know. Let us know in the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. Equitable Bank, they take banking personally, and the Prairie Fire Casino Zone hotline. Don't do it at Prairie Fire Casino. Win more. I think you can, right? It's a sports book. Most positive you can. I don't know. And we'll have Oscar Jacobson on at 1 o'clock, and Brian Christopherson on at 12, and then at 11:30, Chase Sessoms will talk to us about the Kentucky Derby here on Middays.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
All right, this is going to be a menage a trois of a bunch of different segments here. It is Derby weekend. I am dressed to the nines. This is not what I will be wearing tomorrow at a local horse track. Okay.
That's not what you're going to wear.
No, I'm going to wear something different. Are you kidding me?
Well, yeah. I mean, that big hat doesn't go with that.
No, I don't wear hats. I don't wear a fedora. Well, I don't wear a fancy hat.
Yeah.
You know, like not a fedora. Would it surprise you though? When I was 12, I was a fedora kid.
No, that would not shock me in the least with your theater background.
Yeah, I had like a collection of fedoras.
Oh, goodness.
There was a lot of pictures back in the day. My mother loved my fedora phase too. Like any opportunity she got to add to the fedora phase, plus take pictures of the fedora phase, she took. Which, by the way, it is awkward talking about my childhood like that when you look back and realize that was only like 14 years ago. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
Like I'm not too far removed in the grand scheme of life from that. But it's Derby weekend. We will have all of our picks, my picks. We will have Josh's picks, obviously. We will have the picks from our Derby expert, Chase Sessoms, who will join us here at 11:30. Will give us about a 10 to 15 minute kind of rundown of how he's looking at the Derby. Does he like the Japanese horses? Does he like Wonder Dean and Dodon Bourbon? Is he concerned about number 18, Further Ado? 6-1 odds can win the Kentucky Derby, but he's a Keeneland horse. He's run a lot on the Keeneland track. Hasn't really faced top competition, right? Hasn't had to deal with a lot of kickback. Hasn't had to deal with a lot of dirt. Hasn't had to deal with a ton of traffic in his career. Is he concerned at all about that? The curse of the rail.
Oh.
Will that be struck upon not one of the Derby favorite, Renegade? It's a tough spot being close to the rail at Churchill Downs. Everybody knows it. It's hard to win from that spot.
I do actually know that.
It's hard to win from that spot. What are some of the long shots that we're looking at? Is this a long shot Derby? We've told you over and over again, because of Paladin, who was the horse to beat, because he got scratched weeks before the Derby began, we haven't had a true, hey, this is the guy. Is this the Derby? For all of you sickos out there who love to bet the 50 to 1s and 37 to 1s because you like their name or you like the color of the horse, is this your opportunity to make a lot of money? We will find out with Chase. I have some long shots that I love. I'm playing both sides of I'm burning both ends of the candle here. I'm acting like my father, who loves betting the long shots, and I'm acting like my grandfather, who only ever bet the favorites.
Okay.
I'm mixing and matching. I'm trying to land. Do I want to do a $4 or a 4-horse or a 5-horse exacta? Could be a big payout if the right horse is hit. Don't do a 5-horse exacta, though, and I don't have to say this to my people who really know what they're doing. Shout out 97.7 The Zone. But don't do a 5-horse exacta with the 5 favorites. What are you doing? It's a 20-horse race. You know, you want to bet the long shots. You can make some money here. You can make some money tomorrow. And then maybe bet it on the next race after. Who knows? Who also knows, too, if we will ever stop getting renderings of stadiums.
Oh, yeah. You said during the break that a new rendering dropped.
I used to think Josh Peterson was an idiot.
Same.
I used to think that Josh was kind of, standing up on this soapbox, this football soapbox that loved tradition so much, when he would complain about we don't have, like, he misses outdoor stadiums and we have too many indoor stadiums and all the stadiums kind of look like each other nowadays. I'm like, this guy's ridiculous. He doesn't have you ever been to Soldier Field when it's freezing cold? Okay. When you got to walk a mile to get in the stadium, when it's terrible in parking, where it takes you hours to get out, where you're freezing your butt off.
This all sounds like Memorial Stadium.
Right? You're telling me that you wouldn't like a little bit more comfortability. You wouldn't like things to be a little bit warmer, right? You wouldn't like, to have a chair back or two or stuff like that. I thought Josh was dumb. The Cleveland Browns have released what the renderings will look like for their new stadium, their new Huntington Bank field. I am here to tell you, Josh was right. I'm not happy that like we will not have Northern outdoor stadiums anymore outside of Lambeau. That will be the only one that will really exist.
Well, everyone has gone in on this idea of, well, if we just put a roof over it, we'll get the Super Bowl.
You know, it's funny. First off, are we really going to put a Super Bowl in Cleveland?
I wouldn't think so.
Really? Really? We're going to put a Super Bowl in Cleveland?
Again, I wouldn't think so.
We did one. We did one Super Bowl in Minneapolis and said we're never doing that crap again. You think we're going to do one in Cleveland?
You can ask if you have a roof.
Okay, that's insane. Now, do a Super Bowl in Chicago. I don't know if I don't think it would go over as well as you think it would. If we're comparing it to like New Orleans, or Atlanta, or the places that part of their infrastructure is built to host and cater to such events, there is nothing about Chicago that is built to host and to cater to those. I mean, no matter how you spin it, it is crowded, it is loud, it's noisy, there's a ton of traffic, it's expensive. There's no way around it. But going back to the joke is like, oh, if you had lunch with Sean McDermott, if you had lunch with Sean McVay, you get to go ahead and you get to be a head coach in the NFL. Now we're doing the same thing with their damn stadium. You just got to make it a little bit different than SoFi. Just make it a little. No, it's like Eddie Murphy Come to America. We don't have the arches. We don't do the arches. We have the curves. We do the curves, not the arches. We don't have the Big Mac. We have the Big Mick, We don't have the quarter pounder with cheese. We have the half pounder with cheese.
It does feel a little like this, I have to admit.
This is what we are doing with all of these indoor stadiums. No, we're not SoFi. Our slant goes from east to west. Their slant goes from west to east.
I do like what the Bills said and just kind of zagged and were like, no, we're our climate is an advantage.
But they also kind of like used physics and science and like it's not that bad.
There's an awning for some fans or something like that.
Yeah. Like it's a lot more. You would be. I mean, they would have to fire whomever if they made that stadium, and they still have to hire fans to go and shovel out the seats. Can you imagine investing that much into a stadium and then being like, "Hey guys, still gonna need you to come out here and freeze your ass off for nothing"?
Thanks for all those tax dollars.
That would be ridiculous. So, looking on the inside of the Cleveland Browns Stadium, it looks like a penitentiary. Have you seen this? It's not a lot of lighting. Speaking about football real quick, something came across my desk yesterday on Twitter. Came across my desk because it came across your desk first, Josh Hodson. And some people had some backlash to you in regards to it. In terms of a UFL team coming to Omaha, potentially being a site for Omaha to have a United Football League team, for them to have a spring football league team.
Yeah.
You want to walk us through what happened to you yesterday?
The UFL president, whoever it is this week, went on Pat McAfee.
I believe it's the guy who owns Body Armor, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
I don't know his name.
And he said, yeah, the league's always growing. We're looking at prospective new cities. And he listed Omaha as one of them. And boy, you would have thought that grifter who owns the Gretna Mall said we were getting a hockey team, because people were like, oh my gosh, it's happening. Everybody get ready. Omaha's getting a football team. Where do I buy tickets? I even asked on Twitter, are we really going to pretend to be excited about a UFL team potentially coming to Omaha? And based on the replies, based on my menchies, the UFL ratings, I don't think they're doing it right, because here in Omaha alone, they should be over 1 million. Because let me tell you, Omahans love the UFL. They go to they want to go to games. This is going to be so much bigger. It might overtake Husker football.
I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Might be a dumbass question on my part. Where are they going to play?
Probably the Chuck Box. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, whenever fits your fancy.
Sure.
You know?
Look,
it's not like that stadium isn't, unaccustomed to not being full during sporting events.
Look, I remember the Nighthawks. I remember them fondly. I remember Jeff Garcia. I remember Amon Green. I remember the Nighthawks. Trust me, I was there.
It's incredible how much Jeff Garcia has popped up in my life.
I worked a lot of those games. Okay, I remember Nelly performing at halftime at the Rosenblatt. I remember. Okay, I remember. Fun times.
Now you're getting too specific.
This is the Maction of Omaha. This is Omaha's Maction.
Can I be real with you?
You want football options, but you don't actually take the football options. You want, hey, maybe we take the kids out to a Omaha UFL game this weekend. You won't actually go. You just want the hat. You just want the shirt. That's all you want. And if that's the case, I'll mock some stuff up and sell it to you. I got time. You don't actually want this. You don't actually care about this.
It's not as big of a deal as what people are making it out to be. I think it would be a big deal for a year,
Yep, exactly.
And then I think over time, it would probably peter out a little bit. I mean, until the point where the league no longer exists. Because let's be honest, we've seen this happen before, ladies and gentlemen, and it's not as if that this league has caught on fire and it's overly popular and it's super cool and it's the fit and it's the craze.
The day you were gone, we looked up television ratings for this season.
It was 800,000, right?
Yeah.
But that's like the top game.
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy. Now, that's way higher than I thought it would be, if I'm being frank with you. I can only tell you that AJ McCarron coaches one of the teams. I don't really know anything else about the UFL. And I just look, if they were to bring a team here, let's not be naive. This might not be naive. It'd be fun. It'd be cool. I would buy a hat. You would buy a hoodie. It'd be something. People would go to the games. Would it be a staple of the community? Would it be a pillar of the state? Would, people make Omaha synonymous with the UFL team? No, it would probably end up being a footnote in the long history of this city's great sport history. You know what I'm saying? Am I clamoring for it? No. If it were to happen, would I be like, oh, this is so dumb and so stupid? No, if they can figure out the logistics and they can do it, and hey, I'd go to a game or two, Wouldn't be.
If y'all want a place to drink outside, I'll give you some recommendations.
You know what? Can I be real with you? UFL team or more patio bars in Omaha? What would you rather take? I think I would take more patio bars in Omaha. All right, that's the full question. What would you rather have? A UFL team or 5 more patio bars in Omaha?
Okay. We'll get that up at Middays with Matt. Please vote. It's important.
I would take 5 more patio bars.
I think we're going to lose based on my tweet yesterday.
But I'm going to tell you right now, I've had some, specifically in downtown Omaha. Because we don't have, I feel like I sent out that SOS tweet of like, somebody give me more places that I can drink on a roof. Or I can drink on a patio, like outside and enjoy. And there weren't too many options to be had, which was quite unfortunate. You would think that this town would be more of an outdoor patio, outdoor roof type bar town. Am I wrong in there? I don't think I'm wrong at all. I think a UFL team would be cool. At the same time,
I don't know what the other teams are doing for attendance. I know St. Louis takes great pride in attending UFL games. I think they would probably be.
I'm very indifferent about it.
1 or 2 in terms of attendance in the league. Like I'm not completely an idiot, even though you're yelling at your radio that I am. Like, yeah, they would do well.
They would do well. I'm indifferent about it. I will say this though, and I will never back off this. Omaha would be an awesome hockey town. Omaha already is a good hockey town with the Mavericks. Don't get me wrong. But Omaha would be an incredible NHL town. And it would be phenomenal. Be in the middle of the country. You'd have a rabid fan base. You would have here in Omaha what hockey players love. All right. Hockey players love good food. Hockey players love a great bar. Hockey players love to have casinos around them. All right. That's what you have. Like those are the three keys to hockey player: beer, food, and places to gamble. Okay. And you have that in Omaha, along with a phenomenal city structure. And, got more and more people moving out west and raising families, right? If you end up being a longtime hockey player, Omaha is not a bad place at all to end up raising a family. It's a good place to raise a family. So it's one of those things where it's like, I think now it seems like Cincinnati is getting a lot of momentum. They're getting a hockey team. Do you need another hockey team in Ohio? I mean, has Columbus really done all that well that you're clamoring to have another team in that state? That would just be my only question.
That's just, I'm not going to go full Bill Simmons on it, but like that was just a weird addition of
Columbus
of a
makes
team.
no sense. I mean, the only reason why Columbus makes sense is because they've just been around for so long. Like they've just been a staple of the league to the point where it's like you're not going to get rid of them.
Yeah,
right. But adding another, are you adding another team in Cincinnati in the NHL potentially to make a rivalry between?
Okay, I guess it does create a rivalry.
But I don't. But is that really going to get?
I don't know.
The NHL more ratings? Is that really going to elevate the league? Do you know what I think would elevate the league? Having a bought-in, excited, rabid, electric fan base. That's what would get the league going. That's what would elevate the league, right? And you would take a lot of hockey fans in this. Well, first off, the hockey fans that are in this city very quickly would drop their old teams like a bad habit and be a fan of Omaha.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And Kenneth can back me up on this right now. He's a big Tampa Bay Lightning fan. If an Omaha team came here a hockey team came here to Omaha, he would drop the Lightning immediately and be a fan of that team. And so not only would you get the buy-in from the people who already love hockey in the city, you would get a ton of new hockey fans because you're like, yeah, hell yeah, Omaha's got a pro team. I'm going to go there. And hockey is such a great sport to just go and sit down and watch too, right? You can know nothing about the sport of hockey. Sit down, go to a game, and have one of the best times you can imagine. And you already have the infrastructure for it. You don't have to come here and build a new stadium. Now, I know that there probably are logistics that I'm grossly skating over, pun intended, that would have to be ironed out if this were to actually ever hypothetically happen. But when I read about a UFL team potentially coming to Nebraska, I immediately think, yeah, it'd be fun. It'd be cool. Like, I'm sure it would be a hot dynamite thing for a minute. And then at the end of the day, I think it would kind of even out or anything like that. And it wouldn't be the biggest deal of all time. And once again, how many times have we seen these spring football leagues really have the abundance amount of success? Not all that often. But immediately I start thinking, as soon as we start talking about a pro sports game coming, I'm like, the NHL would kill it here. They would kill it in Omaha. Sticking though, we were talking about football at the UFL. I want to quickly touch on this article because we're going to talk to somebody who's a part of a sports gambling podcasting network. And I just want to talk about sports gambling real quick. Been a little precautious when it comes to fully diving in on the story, just because I feel like there are a lot of details to come out. And I think there's a lot of speculation as to what is going to happen with Brendan Sorsby. If we're going purely based off of precedent here, Brendan Sorsby is not going to play college football, which it then begs the question of how much money has he been paid, and does he have to pay that money back to Texas Tech? What happens to Tech in that contract? And then it seems like there's a potential dispute about Cincinnati might have already known about these allegations and all that type of stuff before he even
like a full year.
There was rumors that could be the case. And so, does Texas Tech have any ground to stand on in terms of, you sons of guns, you knew about this, right? How did he not reveal? There's a whole other, there's so many different layers to dive into here. But I want to talk about one layer in particular. And the reason I really want to dive into this aspect of it is because some very smart men in not just college football, but just in sports in general, have talked about this issue with athletes, in specifically NCAA athletes, gambling on sports, and that being not allowed by the NCAA. there were two great points made. The second best point was made by Kirby Smart. Okay. And basically what he said was, I knew a lot of guys who never gambled when I grew up, but they never had the money to gamble. And he goes in and kind of talks about, and I'm adding this, to this just a little bit, where you put these young men and these young athletes in these states and you give them a ton of money. And you put them in these states where it's a couple clicks away from gambling, where it's very easy to gamble. And you surround them with billboards, with DraftKings and MGM and FanDuel, and you surround them with commercials of gamble this and register now, bonus bets and this and that. And you give them the ability and the money to gamble. Now we live in a society where it's so easy to gamble. And then you put them, around people like I'm going to tell you right now, these athletes, they have friends that aren't NCAA athletes who are gambling, who are betting, who are talking about it. Kids my age, sport gambling is so much different for me than it was to a lot of you who are listening right now. Because to a lot of you who are listening right now, it was taboo. It wasn't allowed. You had to go through a bookie. There were a lot of hoops to jump through. You knew stories of, guys getting in bad with bookies and whatnot and all that type of stuff. For me, my entire adult life has been grown up where gambling has been legal. I've actually grown up more in an era where it's weird to be in a state where you can't gamble on your phone than it is to be in a state that you can gamble on your phone. By the time I turned 21 and I could really start doing all this stuff, it was already kind of laid out for me. And so gambling amongst my generation, and it includes the generation of athlete that we're talking about, gambling isn't like this taboo thing that you had to jump a lot of hoops to do. Gambling is a social thing, right? Gambling is a thing that you do with your buddies. Gambling is a thing that you talk about. Gambling is a thing that, almost all of my friends, have a sports gambling account, have a FanDuel account, have a DraftKings account. And oftentimes when we're hanging out together, we're talking about, this bet or that bet, or, we're talking about you see what Munetaka Murakami's doing? Yeah, I bet him to hit a home run the other night. I won it plus
That's
350.
Yeah.
Hell of a bet, man. Great, whatever. Like, these kids who are in college now, who are being given all this money, this is the type of society that they're in. These are the types of conversations they're having. And I know this because this is the type of conversations I'm having. And so I think it's a super, super tough environment for these young men to be in, where the accessibility has never been higher. The marketability has never been higher. Their ability to actually do it has never been higher. The social wealth of gambling and betting has never been more prevalent. And yet they are told, hey, everybody else around you can do it. And hell, we're the police telling you that you can't do this, even though we're benefiting off of this product. You cannot gamble. It's very tempting. It's a hard temptation, in my opinion, to undertake. And, obviously, I think that you just have to stay disciplined, and you have to tell yourself, hey, man, can't do this. You can't, you got to be smarter. You cannot jeopardize your career. You cannot jeopardize your life, cannot jeopardize your money. Don't do something dumb like this and sacrifice everything that you have in order to make some of these dumb bets. I totally agree on that stance. But I think that when Kirby Smart talks about, we put all these guys in these situations where it's never been more accessible and they've never had more money to do it, it's harder than we think. And Nick Saban had this quote, which I think is brilliant and kind of encapsulates the entire issue of this. Nick Saban said, and I quote, "That was always my number one concern, because to me, anytime you have something that became legal that was against the NCAA rules, it made it difficult to manage and something that was difficult to control." anytime you have a rule where it's legal in society to do something, but the NCAA says you can't do it, it's hard to control that and it's hard to manage that because the temptation is there. And so I'm not advocating the NCAA to lessen their rules or not have as tight of a leash on this stuff. But I do think we have to kind of take a step back and evaluate from a certain perspective, what society we are currently in and the circumstances and the current environment that lays on the shoulders of these athletes that makes this decision to not gamble way more difficult in their perspective than I think from a lot of other people's perspectives. Okay. This is the temptation of doing things that literally everybody else around you is doing, I think is way harder to lay off for a lot of athletes than we think. And I think it's being exemplified more than ever with, it just seems like every year now, it's just a common occurrence that more and more college athletes in one way or another are getting busted for gambling. And so do we change the rules? Do we adjust the rules? Do we, try and find a middle ground where we make the temptation less? I don't know what it is, but I think that this problem is way higher than just, hey, this kid is an idiot, because these kids have only, think about it, how old they are, right? 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. You go back, you date back to when gambling really became legal and online gambling became legal and when they were really allowed to do it. These kids have really only ever known this stuff being accessible. And not only this stuff being accessible, but this stuff being socially acceptable. Okay. Kenneth goes, I don't think it's too outlandish to ask an NCAA athlete to not bet sports for 5 years. I don't think it's an outlandish ask either. But I'm just saying, with all of these other cases that are going on and it's happening more and more often, I think we just take a step back and say, is there any way that we can make this easier? Is there anything else that we can do? Because I think Saban and Smart bring up great points. This is a temptation that's never been more accessible. It's really hard to manage something that is legal here, but not legal elsewhere. Food for thought. Food for thought.
I love food.
Me too. Coming up next, we talk to Chase Sessoms of the Gambling Sports Podcasting Network to talk about the Kentucky Derby baby here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
It's an incredibly special weekend. Kentucky Derby weekend, the run for the Roses. Middays with Matt here, the 1620 Zone Radio Network. Matt McMaster is always joined by Josh Odson. We are joined as well by a very special guest, the host of the notorious OTB podcast, the only horse racing lifestyle podcast from the Sports Gambling Podcasting Network. We are joined by Mr. Chase Sessoms. Chase, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, Matt. Thank you for having me. Looking forward to the 152nd edition of the Run for the Roses.
Absolutely. This is a very interesting field this year. As you know, Paladin was a horse that a lot of people were looking at to be the potential favorite for this Kentucky Derby, but he got hurt a couple of weeks before we got to Churchill Downs. And so now we don't necessarily have a top billing horse where you go, right, this is the one to beat, but we definitely do have tiers of horses, in my opinion, in terms of the top tier, the second tier, some good long shots, and then a couple of ones that you toss out. How are you kind of viewing the field top to bottom here for the Kentucky Derby?
I completely agree with you in terms of this is really kind of lacking the star power that we had last year in terms of sovereignty and journalism. But the great news with races that lack that sort of star power is that they usually yield the best betting opportunities. So I really kind of see it as a pretty even field, and I can make a case for a lot of the horses that are running on Saturday.
Before we get into kind of some of the specifics, I'm going to throw you some horses that I like. I'm going to throw you some horses that I don't like, and I want to get some of your opinions. But let's just tackle two right here. A lot has been talked about in terms of the Japanese horses, and will a Japanese horse finally break through and win the Kentucky Derby? We have two potential ones here with Wonder Dean and Didon Bourbon. Out of the two, who do you like the most, and do you think one of them has a legitimate chance of doing that?
You know, this is a time of year where I really lean heavily on the Thorograph figures. If you're not familiar with Thorographs, they kind of take everything, reduce it to a number, and put it into a pretty graph for you to kind of show progression and everything.
Sure.
And when you look at that, you see Dan and Bourbon, the number 7 horse, really looks like the one Japanese horse to beat. I know there's a lot of buzz around Wonder Dean, but and you can say that Dan and Bourbon maybe was running against tomato cans over in Japan, but I've been touting Japanese horses in the Kentucky Derby for a few years now, and I will tell you that I'll have a win bet on that horse because I don't know what I'll do if, this is the first year that I don't tout a Japanese horse and it wins.
I couldn't agree more. I'm kind of the same way with you. Let's talk about a horse that arguably has kind of been running against some tomato cans. Further ado, it's a horse that has some of the best speed ratings here coming into the Derby. It's going, if the pace is pretty honest, it's going to have a pretty good opportunity just in terms of track positioning, especially swinging towards the stretch. But, it's a Keeneland horse. It hasn't run against the best competition, hasn't had to deal with too many crowded fields and kickbacks. Are you all in or all out on Further Ado?
I'm not all the way out, but I'm out as the horse as a win contender. As you mentioned, the horse definitely was running against softer competition at Keeneland, and we might have a case of this horse just being a horse for course with the Keeneland track. If you just look at what Further Ado did on the surface level, if you were just to watch the replay, you'd say this is your Derby horse. But if we look historically, winners of the Bluegrass don't really fare very well whenever it comes to Derby Day.
A hell of a observation there, Chase. Let's go ahead and I'll just give you the floor here. A lot, like you said, a lot of opportunity to make money, right? When the field is this open, a lot of opportunity to bet some long shots and have them hit. What are some long shots? Who are you looking for?
I'm going to focus mainly on long shots, and I'll go ahead and I'll call out my Derby pick, and it's going to be the number 15 Emerging Market for Chad Brown. Currently in the live odds, 11-1, started off at 15-1 on the morning line. This is your Louisiana Derby winner who just showed some guts going eye to eye down the wire with Pavlovian in that Louisiana Derby race. There are, of course, some knocks as you get with most 15-1s. The horse didn't race as a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
Which I think it was Justify that broke the curse of Apollo, who's the last horse to do before Justify, who won the race without racing as a 2-year-old. But I mean, I do believe that the pace really fits. I'm not as concerned about the horse running off of Lasix for the second time. And when it comes to just trainers who are due to win the sort of race like the Kentucky Derby, I think you have to put Chad Brown up pretty much probably second on the list behind Steve Asmussen.
Yeah, I agree. Now, I'm going to be real with you. You're more into this than I am, but you know, I'm a little bit more of an amateur, but I feel like every time I bet Flavian Pratt, I get let down. Is that a common occurrence? Should I not think about that?
I wouldn't think too much about it.
Okay.
You know, it is very much a jockey's race, and honestly, I look at two jockeys as kind of like at any given time they're the best in North America, and that's Flavian Pratt and Irad Ortiz.
I couldn't agree more. I love Irad. Let's talk about his horse, Renegade. Are you buying the curse of having the rail?
I am. It's
okay.
The Coffin Corner. The Coffin Corner, as I like to call it. I do like this horse. Renegade. It was running down in my neck of the woods in Arkansas at Oaklawn Park, and ran a really great Arkansas Derby race against some solid competition. It's going to take some racing luck though for Renegade to do it. So unfortunately, it's a toss for me. But I really like this horse maybe bouncing back into the Preakness or Belmont down the road. You know, the unfortunate draw just kind of took it out of contention for me.
One horse that I really like that I want to get your perspective on, Potente. It's a Bob Baffert horse currently trading 23-1. Had those duels, was so happy. Won one of them against Robusta in the San Felipe, lost the Santa Anita. We're so happy, kind of broke at the very end. Has had some good workouts, 57, 5 furlong. This is kind of a horse that's a long shot that is kind of creeping back toward maybe not being so much of a long shot. What do you think of Baffert's 14?
You are a wise guy, sir, because that is the wise guy horse right now that a lot of people are starting to kind of get behind and starting to get some steam. You know, a take that I've seen that I think is kind of interesting is that maybe in the Santa Anita Derby that Potente caught a dead rail that wasn't really kind to the track position that Potente was on. But I can't blame you for liking that horse. I really get like Medina Spirit vibes where, you know, a horse that no one's really thinking about comes out and just absolutely, you know, wires the field and just runs a hole through the wind.
Is there a horse that you're just tossing out that some people are very high on? I mean, I've seen some on the 11, on the 19 of a lot of steam coming. Is there anyone that you're cutting through a lot of the propaganda that might be coming your way, Chase?
Yeah, Commandment. You know, a horse that's probably top 3 choices. I'm not sure that Florida Derby race was as salty as people are making it out to be. You had a blanket finish right there at the end. I think that Commandment is a easy toss, especially in a year where, frankly, you should be dreaming big.
Hey, what do you think of Chief Wallaby? Because he was in that race too, and I thought he got the cleanest run of the Florida Derby, and he should have paid off, and he didn't.
Yeah, and that's, you know, we like to say horses that get candy soft trips like that are really ones that I try to avoid betting back whenever they come back. I am one of the biggest Belmont fanboys out there on the scene, but yeah, I'm not as enthused about Chief Wallaby.
Okay, I don't want you to reveal all of your secrets because you got your Notorious OTB podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, where I'm sure you want to reveal all that there. But I'll give you the floor. Give me your winner, and then give me an exacta box from Chase Sessoms.
Yeah, the winner, I'm going to stick with Emerging Market for Chad Brown. I love that Louisiana Derby race, and there's something to be said for a horse that can look another horse eye to eye and go past them. So I think that's the kind of guts it takes to win, and I think that the run style and the pace is really going to fit here. In terms of an exacta box, I've got the emotional favorite, So Happy, from Mark Glatt at 6-1. The one Florida Derby horse I'm going to include in this exacta box is the Puma at 8-1, who I actually think looks fantastic in the Tampa Bay Derby. Now, I don't think that the Florida Derby was, you know, maybe that great of a race, but I could easily see the Puma sneaking onto the board. And then, adding Emerging Market into that mix at 11-1.
Absolutely beautiful stuff, Chase. Thank you so much for joining us here in Middays with Matt. We'll do this more often. If Emerging Market, if he ends up winning the Kentucky Derby, we're gonna have you back on the Preakness, and we'll let you do a victory lap.
Well, I call myself his Preakness because I always smash the Preakness.
Okay.
So, Yeah.
We got to bring you on no matter what now. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah, this is my way of weaseling in for Preakness weekend. So, Matt, thank you so much for having me. This was a blast.
This was a good time, Chase. You have a good one, my friend.
Thank you. You too.
What a stud.
So we're going to make like $1 million this weekend, right?
The one horse he picked, I can't stand.
Oh, no.
I hate emerging market.
But he said you were very smart to pick the Bob Baffert horse,
But I think he called me a wise guy. I don't know if is the compliment you think that it is.
Oh.
Sometimes you want to be the guy who zags when everybody's zigging.
I mean, hard to bet against a Baffert horse in the Derby.
I mean, that Baffert horse, it's a son of a. Let me tell you right now, got good breeding too. California, the three races he runs, he's improved on his speed figures every single time.
Large family breeding.
What is that from Kindergarten Cop?
Oh, no, I understand why you would think that. Wedding Crashers.
Okay, thank you. Wait, he was in Wedding Crashers?
No, it's not an Arnold impression. It's a Christopher Walken. He somehow
okay.
He got a little out there with his voice. It's like large family breeding.
The amount of time that I do, you motorboating son of a, and nobody understands what I'm talking about.
I'm here for you.
Anytime my buddy goes like, I love this, I go, they built for speed or built for comfort?
Inquiring minds want to know.
All right, no. Sindelar, I'm not even reading that one. Absolutely not. Coming up next, though, Alex, get it off the screen. Stop it. Alex, will we happen to know we're doing odd news? We were going to eliminate it. Now it's back, baby. Coming up next here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
All right, Josh. Let's get into it, buddy boy.
Okay. What do we got? We got about 5 minutes here.
Yeah, 4 minutes.
Okay. Okay. I want to do that one, but I will skip it.
No, do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Okay. Do you remember when Diana Rossini got fired? From
Yeah,
The
I do.
Athletic? And do you remember?
I hate that I said it like it was happy. I'm not happy. Never mind. Yes, I remember.
Do you remember like 12 hours after she got fired, probably less than that, actually, she heroically saved someone from a car crash?
I do remember. We never really made enough jokes about that.
Well, it turns out that maybe that was a fabricated story to help improve her image. Page 6, the outlet that broke the Rossini-Vrabel alleged affair, is out today with a story from witnesses of the fiery car crash in which it was reported that Diana Rossini pulled a man and a dog from a burning car. The witnesses say that that's not really true at all. She simply held the dog's leash while others saved the man from the car. Yikes.
This just can't get any worse.
I know. What?
It just I feel like at this point we're playing a Mad Lib game with this, with this story.
Yeah, I fully admit that, it's probably not the oddest story I've ever done, but
This sounds
interesting.
like a book. Can I be real with you?
Mm-hmm.
This sounds like a book. This sounds like one of those Maiden's Tale forbidden love sport books.
Sounds like a crappy rom-com that went straight to Netflix, and it's like, okay, we got fired. We got to get our good name back.
This sounds like
let's stage a car crash.
This sounds like we're in season 5 of a series that should have ended 3 seasons ago. That's probably where we're at.
Absolutely. Megan Thee Stallion's fans are defending the artist through hell and high water here as she breaks up with Klay Thompson.
We're really getting into the nitty gritty today.
The Hot Girl Summer rapper confirmed this week that she split from Dallas Mavericks guard Klay Thompson. Forgot he was in Dallas.
I know, me too.
Her fans wasted no time going from heartbreak to hex, requesting the help of witches online. That's right. Her fans are going to Etsy witches to put a curse on Klay Thompson.
I don't think he needs it. I think he's
fine. I feel
think,
like it's pretty over.
Yeah, I think the guy is, where he's at in terms of what he's accomplished in his career. I think
there's
honestly,
probably not a last chapter of
honestly,
that story
based on
in
the rumors of how they broke up and everything that transpired, I think he was already cursed before that. So I think he might be fine. What's our final story?
Michigan State University is where we go to. Michigan State.
East Lansing.
Purveyor of many scandals. Let's add one more to the list.
Why not?
Suspect arrested for allegedly running a meth lab at Michigan State University's largest academic building.
Really?
Yes, a 31-year-old facing felony charges in connection with the alleged operation of creating a meth lab entirely in the academic buildings.
I think, you know what? I have an idea.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be a great show.
Oh, a show about cooking meth?
Yeah, an academic professor using his academics and his pedigree in order to become a meth drug lord. I think that would be insane. I think that would be a captivating story. What if we made him like a great guy in the beginning and a bad guy at the very end?
Oh, a real character arc.
Very much a character arc.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about a potential character arc that's happening in Lincoln, Nebraska. Is Matt Rule going on a character arc? We'll answer that question coming up next on Middays with Matt.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
We're very grateful for our all-star lineup of guests that we have here on Middays with Matt. I think if we do anything right on the show, it's the fact that we have a lot of the best voices across from Nebraska. But more
Big
so,
if we do anything right.
But more so than just having great voices, we have great people who are willing to be flexible. So typically in the 11:30 a.m. slot, now moving to the 12 o'clock slot, almost like a great arm coming out of the bullpen, whether he be the setup man or the closer. It's Brian Christopherson from Huskers 24/7 joining us here at 12 o'clock on a Friday on Middays with Matt. BC, how are you?
I'm good. I've now had 5 cups of coffee as opposed to 4 because of that extra half hour. So we'll see where that takes it.
Yeah, you got a couple more pitches left in the bullpen. You know, got a little bit more loose.
Yeah, I've done some arm circles while I was waiting. I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that. Are you a Derby guy? You strike me as a Derby man.
I haven't been as much the last few years. There was about a 15-year period where I was all about it and sort of planned my Saturday around it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, there's no reason it changed. I haven't tracked it the last like 2 or 3 years.
Wow. So
I guess I can't call myself at this moment a Derby man. There was a point where I was though, and I would have known all the horses and all that. I have no clue going into it, but I enjoy the idea of it. Like, ever since I read Hunter S. Thompson, the Kentucky Derby is decadent and depraved or whatever his famous article was, kind of got me like, I'd love to just be there and see how depraved it is on a race day. I've always kind of tracked it, at least from the background, even though last couple of years I've kind of distanced myself.
Do you have a favorite winner you ever bet?
No, I never bet on it.
You never bet on it?
I've never bet on it. I've only bet on like 2 or 3 things in my life.
Really?
Yeah, it's true.
Wait, you were just into the Derby because you just loved the horses? I love this.
Well, yeah, I think if you go back to old sports writing, I don't know if you've seen the book, Matt, but people my age, especially that are in our 40s now, when we were coming up in journalism, we grew up on the best sports writing of the last century, the best American sports writing. There's it's like our Bible, and it has like the most famous stories that have ever been written. And it seems like some of the best material for sports writers, especially like in the 50s and 60s, were definitely horse racing and boxing. Like those were the 2 sports where you could write some magical stuff. I mean, there's of course the famous column, The Death of a Racehorse, which is a sad but sort of brilliant column a guy wrote just about a horse that went down. It's kind of a downer to talk about, but it's a famous column. But there was all sorts of like just great stuff that their sports writers of that era did on horse racing. So because of that, I think it kind of drew me into it.
What I would do to grow up in the era where boxing and horse racing were the biggest things. I would have thrived in that, but I love to hear you talk about that. Good for you, Brian. We got to talk about some ponies next time I see you in person. But
I'll have to dial in tomorrow, and like going into next year, still doing this, God willing. We'll get all into it and break down the Derby of 27 like nobody's business.
You know what? That is our friendship goal next year. That you are Mr. Derby when we get back to this first Saturday in May. This time in 365 days. But let's talk about what's going on right now. I'm going to ask you a hard question. I'm just going to kind of roll out with it. There's just been a lot of conversation this week about, are we too negative about Matt Rhule? Are we too are we overanalyzing? Are we too critical of Matt Rhule? Should we believe more in what's going on? Should we trust the process? Are we putting too much pressure on this administration right now in terms of what they're doing in Lincoln, or are kind of the insights about the lack of development, whether it be to the NFL draft or the lack of development within season from week 1 to week 12? Do you think that is valid? Do you think it is something that needs to exist, or do you think there's a middle ground?
It won't surprise you that I'll say I think there's a middle ground. I kind of live on middle ground. But I understand why there's skepticism, why there's concerns. Husker fans, especially when they look at and a lot of this goes before Matt Rule. If you look at the draft for the last decade, 10 years, I think only one time, I know it's one time, Nebraska had 3 players or more. And I believe in 5 of the last 10 or 11 years, they've had 1 or less draft picks like this past draft. And so, the draft can occasionally be an outlier. There's been cases where a program's doing fine, but just has sort of that weird, it just hits wrong where you only get 1 guy or something like that. That does happen on occasion, but there's enough data in the past decade that sort of shows, and it shows in I always bring this up, but my colleague Michael Bruns during the season, he'll write, a thing each week about Huskers in the NFL, how they do that week. And that list has gotten way too small. That should be a list where you have to take some time to go through it. This guy did this at Tampa Bay. We had, fortunately, Levante, that was helping us out and carrying the thing. And for a while there was Rex Burkhead was getting stuff done. And there were some years where you had a name that kind of helped it out, but there just wasn't enough. There's not enough guys in that league. And so, and I do think Nebraska, probably because of some of the on-field results, has probably lost the benefit of the doubt. I've said this before on the air, but there's maybe some guys 20, 25 years ago who got picked in late rounds from Nebraska, that it was partly because the program was where it was, and there was sort of a belief in the guys they established out of it. And I just don't know now when you get to the 6th or 7th round, if guys get that same benefit. And then, of course, it's just at the top of the draft. You haven't felt on that first day or even that second day. I mean, we were kind of hopeful Emmett might sneak into the second day this last one, but there just hasn't been any buzz there. And so, anyway, all that said, I get why people are hey, it just doesn't feel like there's enough juice, happening. And then I'll give the other part of it quickly, is that we have seen examples around here with a few coaches with sports where it did not happen right away in the first 3 years, and they've sort of we're figuring out what it took to navigate the terrain they're in now. And it is a true statement also that Nebraska hadn't been to a bowl game in 7 years before Matt Rule arrived, and so they did get to that level. But I get where people are all right, I'm just not going to go all in and the over-the-top off-season optimism that it's going to go to 9 or 10 wins suddenly until I actually see that, because it's been so long. So I understand that both sides of that.
Yeah, I do think that there kind of is a balance between the things that he has fought through because where the program was when he first got there. But I also think that there are things that he's not been able to succeed at that doesn't really have anything to do with where the program was at when he first got there. That's a whole other conversation. Honestly, a whole other radio show to be had. But I'll ask you this, BC. I look at this team and I think, wow, this looks a little bit like the 2023 roster, not from a talent perspective, but from a makeup perspective, right? You have a transfer quarterback. You have a running back by committee where, you have an idea of who the number 1 guy is, but we don't fully know. You have a new defensive coordinator with a completely different system. If you want to get really granular, you have a secondary you feel pretty good about, but a front 7 that you're a little bit nervous as to what they can be able to do, and an offensive line where, the jury's kind of out what they could end up being. I think the O-line definitely better heading into this season, by the way, than it was in 2023. So, take that for what it is. The comparisons, though, between 2023's roster and this year's roster and their makeups and their similarities, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah, it's an interesting comparison. The first I'd start here. He liked his 23 team and how they bought into what he was challenging them with. And so if this team has that same sort of mindset, that could be a good thing. There's probably some differences too, but you brought up some of the similarities. No one is going to go chug the Kool-Aid right now, but if you want to just like, okay, I'm going to open up the refrigerator and look at things like what can give me optimism as on the first day of May. A few of them are, Rob Orich it's really interesting, like what he's going to do with that defense. Like, I mean, he's had success, granted not at the power conference level, building things pretty quickly and showing that he's a good communicator. And he took a San Diego State defense that before he had his hands fully on it as the DC was not rated very highly, to be honest, and made them a top 10 defense, like all over the plate. They were every stat about, they were around the top 10. And so, there should be some intrigue, like, hey, let's see what this guy does with these, like maybe he's going to put some of those guys last year that were in spots on the D line where maybe they weren't in their best position to succeed. They find some niche areas where they can maximize their strengths, and then you go to the other side of the ball, and Calandria, I think the one thing I know, and this is not to like backtrack to the last QB and all that stuff, but I've heard from multiple people, beyond just the podium setting and the interviews, that Calandria has fit in really well with the team.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's not forced, I should say. Like I feel like there's a real chemistry that he's developed, and so that's useful. So we'll see where that goes. But just the fact that I'm excited to see more of a mobile quarterback, what that can do extending plays. Can that allow them to hit downfield throws more? Like last year, I was looking at Calandria's numbers at UNLV, of course, not power conference, but he threw for more than 1,100 yards on throws that traveled 20 yards or more.
Hell yeah.
So he threw the ball downfield. Last year, Raiola, granted, he only played the 9 games because of the injury, but he only threw the ball downfield 20 yards or more 25 times.
Yeah.
And so I think there is sort of some juice over there with the skilled guys. Like, this guy's kind of a ball player, right? Like, or however you want to describe it, a little Farvian maybe, like with some of that. There can be good and bad, but that excites guys that are around a quarterback like that, because they know that he's going to be looking to make those big plays, and they can be in on that. And also that the lifespan of a play, it could be longer. It could be a 10-second play now with the guy who can scramble a little bit. So that's interesting. And then there's the Jeep Wade factor. I think they hired a O-line coach that, at least on the surface, your initial review would be really strong with how he recruits. He did develop a guy who was picked number 26 overall in the first round of the draft from Georgia Tech. And so, I would say those 3 guys, Jeep Wade, Calandria, and Orich, that's the part where here in May, it's like, okay, maybe I'm not going to just go fully in, like this is going to be better or not, but what can give me some hope that they can move this thing in the right direction? It's what those guys can do.
Yeah. I think that's really interesting. You're talking about Calandria, and like, I think that Dylan was a type of quarterback that if you kept him on schedule, he was really good. But the problem is that just Nebraska didn't have the roster to necessarily be on schedule all the time.
Exactly.
And yeah, go ahead, Brian.
No, I mean, Matt, and college football's not played on schedule a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not like it's just so off script. Like there's times when it's going to go just like you have it on the grease board, but so many of the plays, it's going to be like, how can you
extend it? Right? How do you extend it? How do you make something out of nothing?
Yes, and so that's where Calandria is going to be interesting. Now he's going to have to show he can take care of the football while doing that. Glenn Thomas talks about those educated decisions of a QB, and there's that fine line. Like, you have conviction in your throw. I know I want to go here with it, but like there's times, we saw one in the spring game where afterward he said I shouldn't have thrown it. It got picked off, and so. We saw a little of the good and the bad with that, even in that little glimpse. So, yeah, but that part, I think, that gives me some some excitement though about this fall is what that looks like, and if they can make that pay off. And even Dana Holgerson this spring, he talked about he was kind of changing his ways as a coach because he hasn't had a guy quite like Calandria that extends plays, and they've worked a lot on sort of the the off schedule stuff. They looked at Vanderbilt tape with Pavia last year and sort of what they did, and so that part will be a interesting sidebar to this season, if nothing else.
Yeah, I think it's funny you bring up Pavia because it's like, I think if we were in a different time in Nebraska football where there wasn't as much pessimism as it seems like there currently is now, there definitely would be a Clark Lita, Pavia to Matt Rule and Calandria comparison in a way. No, don't you think? I mean, I think if we were in the ultimate mega drink the Kool-Aid optimistic time of Husker football, I think that would probably be the main comparison between the two.
I've been a beat writer of Husker football since 2007, Callahan's last year, and I'm only saying that to make this point. I've never seen less like trumpets or whatever fanfare around like a new QB coming to town. And that's not a knock on Calandria. It's just sort of the way things have been this offseason.
Yeah.
Whether we're distracted by March Madness or whatever, there's been less like, I mean, when Sam Keller like arrived here some years back, like there were feature stories upon feature stories written about him and like, his background and stuff like that. And that's sort of the way it's been. Even with Casey Thompson, there was a lot more of that stuff going on.
I mean, that was my first year. I remember when he got up on the podium and he broke down the entire X's and O's of a team and everybody flipped out about it and they thought he was a genius. And it was, I mean, how many columns did we write about that? Exactly. And so there's been a lot less of that, and maybe that's all right. Right. I mean, just let him bond with the guys and let's see where this goes. I mean, as we get closer to September 5th, that's going to take off more, and you're going to see a lot more fuel like after Big Ten Media Days and into August about, him and everything else. But it's an interesting situation because there's probably less stories, hype, whatever you want to call it. But also, like, he's actually one of the more intriguing, like, guys who's shown up at that position because he actually is coming off, like, Mountain West of, Player of the Year accolades. And so that whole thing is that's interesting how it breaks down. I think it's useful to him and the guys, actually, that it's sort of been like this. But we'll see. It also might not matter at all. So sometimes we talk about this stuff like it matters, like that how much it's talked about or not talked about. And it just comes down to, like, do you have that special dude, like, between the lines who can process it in those 7 to 10 seconds at just about 0.2 seconds quicker than another guy, and it makes all the difference sometimes. BC, you're the man. Appreciate you always. Thank you so much for being so flexible. We'll talk to you next week, my friend.
All right, I'm going to start studying the young ponies that are just to get out of the stable that might be in the hunt next year. I'll start doing some research.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Oaks is today, so you can start scouting the 2-year-olds.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's true. So that might be where I turn my eyes this afternoon. Confuse my wife a little bit by having that on, but that's what I'll do.
This is like you're watching the pre-Kentucky Derby race. What is wrong with you, Brian?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Well, she always asks what's wrong. She asks what's wrong with me for a lot of reasons. So this would just be another. So that's all right.
BC, you're the man. We will talk to you soon, my friend.
Thanks, Matt.
Brian Christopherson, Huskers 24/7. So a couple things that BC said there that we're going to work on next segment. There's one that we talk about the 7 and 6 seasons, the back-to-back bowls, and all that type of stuff. And I think that's an interesting topic to be had about how do we balance that? How do we balance 19 and 19 and having
that's very balanced. It's easy to balance 19 and 19.
How do we balance having a 19-19 record in 18 games? How do we balance having a under 500 Big Ten record? How do you balance being 2-10 in November while acknowledging that there's obviously been some improvements from where the program was to where it is now? But there's one question I'll ask you Straight up now, before we go to break, ladies and gentlemen. Brian said, I've been a beat writer here since 2007. And I've never seen the fan base not nearly as excited as it is now for a quarterback and then kind of the whole season, right? He's never seen it before. Someone described, Joe goes, he goes, it's because apathy is at an all-time high. Here's my question to you, because I don't disagree with Brian. I don't think a lot of people would disagree with Brian that this has been one of the worst vibe, quietest off seasons.
It's not necessarily a bad vibes off season. It's a no vibes off season.
How much of that is on rule? How much of the fact that there's not a whole lot of hype around the team? How much of the fact that there's not a whole lot of hype around the quarterback? How much of all of that has to do with rule?
It's what he wants.
I think it might be a little bit less than you think. We will talk about it next, coming up here on the 1620 Zone Radio Network.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Sorry, are we live?
Oh, we live.
Oh, my bad. Just looking at the ponies.
Craving more pictures of Spider-Man, are you?
Get me pictures of Spider-Man. Parker, you're fired. Never mind, you're hired. Brock, are these fake?
It's pretty good Jameson you do.
Well, I've told you again. The crook Spider-Man. That would be a good horse name, Peter Parker.
Peter Parker. Jonah Jameson?
Triple J. I still love Third Divorce. That's my horse.
It's a good horse name.
What if there was a horse called Penitentiary? That'd be a badass horse name.
Yeah, I think the other horses might be afraid of him.
Andy goes, what the hell is he dressed for? I'm sorry. Does the suit with the handkerchief, with the cigar, with the Churchill Downs race form, does that not give it away enough for you, Andy? I can't talk with a cigar in my mouth. Some people can't. Some people are. By the way, we have a Cuban. These are fake Cubanos.
Love that for us.
That's what they were called when I bought them.
They were called fake.
They were literally
Cubanos?
called fake Cubans. That's like what the brand is. Right?
Okay.
And I mean, I'm being transparent here. I didn't really shell out the budget for our prop cigars. These are real.
Real cigars that we're using as.
Well, he put them in and he goes, one's torpedo and one's a big one. And I'm like, all right.
A big one.
I'll have the big one. Look how intimidating I look. Great radio, by the way.
Intimidating.
Sith goes, kind of screams midlife crisis, and you being in your 20s makes me very concerned for you, Matt. Are you okay? This is not midlife crisis at all. This is actually me.
It's not.
Thriving, if anything. Outside of being sick, I don't think I've ever been in a better mood hosting this show. Our betting expert called me a wise guy.
Did we ever decide, was this a compliment or not?
I think it's got to be, right? Because he was like, all the sharp money is on that course, and I'm on that horse. I'm off the horse. The horse that he loves, I'm off. I do not like emerging market. I do like Golden Tempo, 36-1. That horse is around 9 and 9.5, 9 and 9.5 furlongs the last two races. He's got the stamina to win. Has a lot of positive momentum from his 3 starts previous, just building on that. This is a horse, Golden Tempo, that can get better. At 36-1, it's a steal. Should put it all over your exactas if you had it. Definitely a money-making horse. It's going to be there at the very end. Telling you. And good amount of rest coming into this race, too. So it does kind of proffer into the, can they get better? Can
rest
they run
over
better?
rust.
I am selling. I love what a lot of what Chase said. I do agree. I'm not betting Commandment to win. I'm not going to bet the 6. I'm going to be real with you. I'm not betting any of these 6-1, 8-1s, any of that. Like, not in this race. Like, none of those horses are dominant enough for me to make 6-1 back on it. Same thing with Renegade. I don't want to bet a 5-1 horse in the coffin corner. But I'll sprinkle them. Like, Commandment is way too good of a horse to not be in the top 5. If you have an exacting and you don't have a 6 in it, I think you're running or a trifecta or a superfecta or whatever, however the hell you bet. I think you're really risky if you don't do that. Now, let's talk about something. I don't know. What is the risky side in terms of how you feel about Matt Rule? Is it riskier to believe that this is going to work out? Or is it risky to really put out there that you think that this thing is going to? I hate to use the word fail.
It's riskier to believe, right?
I think it's riskier to believe. After 19-19,
yeah,
having a poor Big Ten record, and I mean, so Illinois in 2023 is Matt Rule's best win. That's what we're going with.
I think so.
That's fine. Definitely wasn't the best Illinois team that he could have ended up beating. It's just one of those things where I understand the stance of guys. Look at where the program was before he got here. Look at the bowl drought that they had gone on. Look at the discombobulation, the disorganization, the disarray that the entire program was in before he arrived to Lincoln. And yeah, is the program where you want it to be? Is the program investing the resources adequate to where they're finishing at the end of the year? No. But you have to understand the Herculean task that had to occur for him to even get to where he is now. I understand that point of view. Okay? But I don't think that point of view erases all of the other mistakes that have happened. I'm willing to take that point of view into account. I'm willing to put that in the bank. I'm willing to have it even out the scales in terms of how I feel about whether or not this program is going to succeed. But there are failures that have happened here at Nebraska under Matt Rule that have nothing to do with Scott Frost and Mike Riley being the head coaches before he got here.
Absolutely.
Okay? I mean,
Minnesota last year.
What did Scott Frost have to do with that?
Nothing to do with that.
You know, like some of the failures that comes with, hiring coaches and having them in the wrong positions and doing things necessarily that didn't fit the culture, right? What did that have to do with Scott Frost? There have been, let me tell you this. The 3 draft picks in 3 years, and once again, I know I'm the one who I might have started this whole fight with the top 50 picks since 2011, right? But the whole 3 picks in 3 years, yeah, it's not great. Screw that. It's not good. It's not good at all. It is what it is in the perspective of those aren't necessarily his guys that he evaluated, that he wanted. Like none of the he didn't recruit Emmett. He didn't recruit Fedoni. He didn't recruit, Ty or Nash or any, you know what I'm saying? Like, we could start really judging that when it's like his actual crop of high school guys start coming up. Then we can really have those conversations about the draft. That's one aspect. But I don't think you can write off or ignore the fact that you've been through 3 transfer portal cycles and you haven't had a draft pick come from that. That's got nothing to do with Scott Frost. That's got nothing to do with what you inherited. That has nothing to do with what you walked into. Okay? You were the evaluation player development coach. You have had, let's be real. There has never been a better time to be the evaluation developer guy because there are so many more guys to evaluate and so many more guys to develop. Your pool of talent that you can evaluate and diagnose that, hey, this guy can be a great football player for us, that pool has never been bigger.
Can you not get them here, or can you not develop them when they get here?
That's the pushing, but that's the one thing, Josh, though. Like, I wrote a column, believe it or not, for Husker Max when Matt Rule first got here. And the base of that column was what is beautiful about Matt Rule and this hiring is the fact that you don't need the 5-star prospects. You don't need to, unload the bank and get all these top recruits and everything like that for him to develop top guys. He's developed guys who are no stars, who are 2 stars, who are 3 stars. He's developed guys who, were maybe didn't reach the measurables that people thought and they ended up being great, right? Like that was the point. So and by the way, like I think they're doing a great job recruiting some dudes and getting some top prospects. That needs to be said. But your inability to identify somebody in the transfer portal and then develop them into somebody who could get drafted doesn't have anything to do with who was here before you. It doesn't. It doesn't. Now, if we're going from a bare bones perspective of getting top guys here, they haven't been able to get top guys here, I would say that you might have a little bit, there definitely is some backwash from what happened in previous years to here because of the reputation being damaged and that much more convincing that you have to do. And there definitely was a process of getting guys here just to say you got guys here, just for them to spread the word, for them to finally be ready for them to commit to you. That was a process. But that might have to do with Scott Frost. But you grabbing someone from the transfer portal and not being able to develop them, that's on you, man. That's on you. You got to be better. You got to be better. It's just plain and simple. There are some things that, man, I'm glad I wasn't you. Matt, you've done some things and have established some organization and have got your department to start working and have gotten things really organized to the point where, hell, it's a hell of an accomplishment from where you were when you first got here to where you are now. But you haven't kept some promises. You have not kept some promises. You wanted to be good in the trenches. Why are we going into year 4 and we got question marks at both trenches? You wanted to be a physical running football team and have 75 yards rushed for in the fourth quarter. Why haven't you been able to do that over 3 seasons?
You came in and touted your Texas recruiting ties.
Where has that gone? Mm-hmm. Right? So I am totally cool with giving Matt Rule some leeway and saying, hey, man, he developed a nightmare of a situation. And for the most part, he's gotten, man, they went to 2 bowls back to back. They haven't done that in forever.
Bravo.
Good for you. But I'm not going to be blind to the fact that when he came here in year 1 and he established some goals and he established some points and he said, this is what we're going to be and this is what we're going to do, those things haven't happened. It's hard for me to fully invest into something when you say we're going to be a developmental program and we are going to take guys to the next level and talking about Hassan Reddick and Deion Dawkins and all your NFL connections and all of that type of stuff when you haven't been able to produce that at a high enough rate, when we haven't seen enough developmental stories. We have more missed developmental stories at this point than we do full developmental stories. We can go down the line more and talk about the guys who didn't hit as opposed to going down the line of the guys who did hit. It's a bit of an issue. So I think that is the very long and drawn out way for me to say I get both sides. And I don't fully blame somebody trying to be more optimistic and somebody trying to ward away the negativity and somebody trying to say
it's commendable.
Hey man, we've come a long way. Trust the I don't fully blame them for that. But I don't think you can say that and then completely ignore a lot of the shortcomings that have happened so far. And have there been things that have been accomplished that are impressive? Sure. But are there more? Were my expectations higher? And were more importantly, and more than anything else, what I thought would be a foundation of this program has ended up becoming a problem. What I thought the foundation of the program was going to be development and the trenches. And last year, What were the main problems? The young D-line didn't get better from the offseason to this season, and they didn't get better from week 1 to week 12. And the other main problem was the offensive line just was not what it needed to be. Can Jeep Wade fix that problem? Yeah. Am I excited Jeep Wade is here? You're damn right I am. Have I heard nothing but great things about Jeep Wade? Yeah. Am I willing to give some leeway? Absolutely. But at the same time, we cannot deny that, man, why couldn't you do that before? you know?
Yeah.
Like, why couldn't we figure that out before? I think we all know, there's obviously some reasons why. And I think we all know, last names carry. But it's just kind of one of those things where for every note of positivity that you can give me, I can kind of hit you right back with something that I thought would be something that it isn't. So I don't know. I feel like we're getting to the point where everyone's got to put a flag down and say, this is where I stand. This is how I feel. I'm not going to do that. I'm just not. I'm not. I don't have to. And I don't necessarily want to put my flag down and say, I think this is going to fail or I think this is going to succeed. I'm just going to point out that for the people who argue, man, look how far we've come. Yeah, right on. They've come decently far from where it was to where it is now. But I ain't going to stand here and look at the other side who might be saying, well, why are you 2-10 in November? And why haven't you beaten a ranked team? And why haven't these guys who we're really excited about developed into this player? And why have, other players gone on to other teams and had some success? Why has that happened? I'm not going to look at those people and be like, oh, they're wrong or they're being too negative. To me, I'm not going to get mad at somebody for being negative if they're just presenting facts. Right? Oh, the people getting mad about the whole top 50 thing? Okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not a good look on Nebraska. But
arbitrary number.
But do you know what that is, though, Josh? That's a fact. Why? That's a fact. They haven't produced a top 50 player in 15 years.
They've produced a top 51 player, though.
That's not the point. The fact is that the development hasn't been good enough, and you hired a coach that was supposed to be his bread and butter, and it hasn't worked out yet. And the more concerning thing is that it hasn't worked out in the portal yet. That's the more concerning thing, in my opinion. I don't know. That'll open up a bag of worms of discourse. So hopefully we can work off of that for a couple of weeks. But
it's a long way to August, everybody.
Coming up next, the car wash here on Middays with Matt.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
And we got a lot of great things that are happening on the 1620thezone.com website. A lot of giveaways to enter into, like the Peak Playoffs giveaway. And if you go to 1620thezone.com, you can enter in there, and you can score a $250 Twin Peaks gift card to go and watch the NBA and NHL playoffs, the finals, and even the global soccer tournament in style while watching great food, drinks, and atmosphere. You can get entered at 1620thezone.com. And we want to remind you about the Green for the Green 5K sweepstakes, which is powered by Benjamin Franklin Plumbing. You can improve your golf game, get better equipment, get a membership, or can even repair the damages due to your miscalculated golf swings by entering the Green for the Green 5K sweepstakes at 1620thezone.com. The contest runs until May 19th. Car wash time. A lot of ball happen around the state. Nebraska softball is in action this weekend with a favorable opportunity to clinch I believe to clinch the Big Ten softball regular season title. They play their final series of the season against Penn State on the road. Also, big series ahead for the Nebraska baseball team, who they have to do what so beautifully was described by Evan Bland in the Omaha World Herald as RPI maintenance, which is
great phrase.
The very soft and subtle way of saying, hey, don't flip it up, boys. They're playing a bunch of sub 500 baseball teams. Don't mess up. That's all I'm saying. So it's one of those instances where, yeah, it's baseball. Baseball can happen, but don't get swept. Don't lose a series. Going to be interested to see what the new Friday, Saturday, Sunday lineup looks like with Carson Yassa on the mound tonight. First time that he will be the Friday debutant for the Huskers in conference play. Cooper Katsky will go ahead and play start on Sunday, rather. And then very big series for the Creighton baseball team. They are one game ahead of the St. John's Red Storm in the Big East Conference standings. 10-2, the Creighton Blue Jays are. 9-3 is St. John's. They will take on St. John's on the road, by the way, in Queens, starting today at 2:00. So very big series for Creighton. Very interesting. Creighton baseball, Nebraska baseball, Nebraska softball all have very high stakes series, but all kind of for different reasons, right? Softball looking to clinch. Nebraska baseball looking to kind of just hold serve and get to the point where we do have to start caring about whether or not the playoff season tickets are really going to matter, because that'll be all for naught if they don't end up handling business. And then on top of that, Creighton obviously trying to put themselves in a very advantageous situation when it comes to winning the Big East regular season title. So a lot of important softball and baseball happening around the state this weekend. Coming up next, we talking to Her Dat Sports' very own Austin Jacobson here on the 1620 The Zone Radio Network.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
You want to host the show, and I'm just gonna read the race book.
Who, me?
Yeah, no, Austin Jacobson, by the way.
Yeah, he's a host.
Yeah, I can do that. Welcome back to
go.
Middays. Welcome back
Go
to
ahead,
Middays with Austin. We have our usual 1 p.m. Friday guest, good friend of 1620 The Zone, Matt McCannons, back from his JP Morgan internship. How are you doing, Matt McCannon?
Doing great. Ever since I got out of the business, I've really been wanting and slobbering to get back into it. And I really appreciate Austin here of Middays with Austin giving me the opportunity to come back on the air and talk to you about great horse racing. Now that I have my everyday business job, getting back into the horses is really how I indulge in getting back into sports broadcasting.
I love that every time you said job or a career, you put like a child would, you like my business job.
I don't know.
Or like a comedy writer.
I don't know
forgive me
the
for using the
names of
word
jobs.
child. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I don't know what regular people do. You accountants? Are you
Is
hedge
this
fund
your-
managers?
I'm guessing this is your Kentucky Derby getup.
You're guessing?
Yeah, it's either that or you're going to a funeral after this. I'm not really sure which is which.
I just dropped my cigar.
Got to be real careful about which it is, Austin.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you don't want to show up to a funeral with like the way too big of hat for the Kentucky Derby. It'd be a big mistake to mistake your funeral hat.
That'd
with your
be
Kentucky
that'd be
Derby
a
hat.
funny game. Kentucky Derby getup or funeral? Derby or
Dangerous
funeral.
game.
It's a very dangerous game. It might be more dangerous than This Week in Women's History.
No, that's just an appreciation of the fairer sex.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. You like my hair today? I kind of wanted to do you, where I just spoof it up really high as possible.
Listen, ever since Stibbs made the Chimney Rock comment, I've been so self-conscious about this. It's literally one of the best jokes that's ever been said against me. And my fiance loves that joke so much. She
The what?
could not stop laughing.
The what? The Timmy
The Chimney
Rock?
Rock joke.
I will say this.
Josh, if you could pull that up, it's very
I
funny.
don't know
I'm sure you can find it on Stibbs.
I don't know anyone else who does their hair like you do your hair.
This is unintentional too. Like I've never meant for
No,
it to
it's
be
not.
this way.
No,
but-
it's not. What do you
No,
mean it's
truthfully,
unintentional?
like it's just this is how it like sits now. It's like it's trained. Like I've potty trained
Yeah.
this hair to be like this constantly. I can't do anything about it. It's
Do you-
terrible.
Did you used to use gel?
No, I've never used gel. I've just like pushed it. I've just pushed it
sit-
back.
wait,
and
wait,
up.
wait.
I pushed it
It
back
just
and up.
sits
That's it.
like that?
Yeah, I'm always just pushing back and up, and it just sits.
That is
Can't do nothing.
whoa.
There's
That is
no gel in
crazy.
this. It's just this is it. It just sits. I turn more and more Shark Boy every single time I touch this hair.
That's incredible. That's a magic trick. It just sits back up like it's what's the what was that Dwayne the Rock Johnson movie? Retreat to Terabithia or
Bridge to Terabithia.
The Bridge to
Retreat
Terabithia?
to Terabithia?
I'm sorry,
Every
I'm
day
sorry.
you piss me off a little bit more. You know that?
The race to Witch Mountain, right?
Escape from Witch Mountain.
Escape
Oh
from Witch Mountain.
my god.
These are all things
He
Dwayne
wasn't
wants
in any of
to do
those
after,
movies, by the
every
way. You're thinking of Journey to the Center of the Earth.
By the way, Charles Carmichael has a great Jimmy Neutron.
That's
You did have a good Jimmy Neutron.
that's a Damon Benning joke. So unfortunately,
Classic.
that's stolen valor.
Have you ever seen the Jimmy Neutron? It would have been on a VHS tape. The Jimmy Neutron movie where they traveled to space.
Yeah, and the chicken aliens are the ones that take him down. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
glad that
yeah.
that's the film that you appreciate the most. I'm very,
I
very proud
do.
of you.
I love the Jimmy Neutron and I forget or whatever, and they take all the amusement park rides and they make them into spaceships and they go off to the alien universe.
Yep,
It's a great movie.
it is. It's fantastic stuff. I'm glad that that's the film we're discussing today.
Turns 25
By the
this
way,
year, fellas.
without fail, we got a Jimmy Neutron meme just sent to both Josh and I. So that's
It's awesome. I'm really happy for you guys. I'm
Hi,
just free
Damon.
content. I'm just free content. Oh, Damon sent it.
you're gonna play victim as you being free content. Look to who you're talking to. Which, by the way, I don't appreciate you taking the Michael Severe victim card when I've been doing that for years now. This is not a new thing that Michael Severe makes fun of young broadcasters. That's not a you thing. You don't own that.
I think the one thing I want more in life is just to be Michael Severe's friend. And I think we
Ain't
could be
gonna happen.
friends, but
No.
it's not my fault that I'm like 40 to 50 years younger than him. Like I can't help that, you know. There's just
All
such
right,
a gap
cut it
between
out.
us.
Cut it out. There's probably a flat 30-year gap between you two.
Probably.
He told me. I've known that guy for 5 years now. 5 years I've known him.
Whoa, that's like a quarter of your life.
Well, it's actually, not that. It's a fifth of my life, actually. And I asked him, I go, we've been to countless lunches now and have talked to each other for hours and hours and hours. And I asked him, I go, are we friends? And he goes, no, we are not friends.
But how many times have you kissed? That's the real question.
How many times have you kissed Michael Severe?
None. I've seen that man in person like 3 times, and each time he berates me.
Do you have to kiss your friends to be friends?
No, I kiss the ring of Hurrdat Sports just to make sure I can keep my job. So, you know,
Yeah.
it's doing what I can for the content, for vertical videos, all that good stuff. So,
Or vertical hair, if you will.
that's why I got hired.
Is that why you got hired? They looked at that the hair.
Yeah,
And
they were out in a coast one day, and I was swimming, and I was, you know, like this, and they called shark in the water, and then I appeared, and they were like, "What great content."
Great content.
We
gotta find out. We gotta find out what the Sharks' favorite place to eat in Omaha once was.
I don't want to gloss over a few things that were just said.
Okay, go ahead.
On the show. Couple questions, Matt.
Yeah.
Have you ever kissed Michael Severe?
No.
Okay. B, are people asking you to in this profession, this small knit community that we work that is local sports media, is anyone asking you to kiss them?
Oh,
because
me? No, not personally. I
Okay.
haven't been given the honor.
Okay.
Austin?
Honor? Oh, that's not no. If they're asking you, you should say no. Matt.
Sarcasm.
You don't have to
Sarcasm.
kiss anyone to get ahead in this
Well,
business.
you should ask some. You should ask some very popular and very successful reporters how they feel about that. Austin, you want to answer those questions? Have you kissed Michael Severe?
No, again, I've only met him like 3 times. There was chocolate cake involved in one of them, so one of the more romantic desserts you can have.
Did you have that? Were you at the Jet Award? You weren't at the Jet Award. Game.
No, this was at the Outland Trophy Award.
Damn it. Shit, what's that? That would have been that chocolate mousse over at the Jet Award. You should ask around about it. I'm being real. I'm being so for real with you right
Oh, did
now.
it get around? Did the chocolate
Dude.
mousse get around?
They had this.
Just ask him. He'll tell you where he got it.
Dude, this caramel chocolate mousse in this, and they had like a hard chocolate, like a bowl that it came in the caramel mousse.
I'm more of a molten lava cake kind of guy because, you know, it's molten in the middle.
That's downright sexy.
Yeah, that's a great chef reference by you, by the way.
That is, yeah. I love
Incredible.
chef.
When was the last time you had a Cuban sandwich?
Ooh, good question. So there's actually a restaurant in Kearney that has a really good Cuban sandwich. And I had that probably when I moved. It was like one of the last days I moved there. So yeah, probably 2024 or so. I don't keep track of my Cuban sandwiches. I should add that to the wall. You know, since I don't have kids to mark their heights, I should write on the wall like Cuban sandwiches eaten.
Last time you had a Cuban sandwich? Mine was about 9 months ago. It was pretty phenomenal.
Well,
Can't
so
wait
you
with
could be
the-
having a Cuban baby then anytime.
Well, I think I'm going to have a Cuban baby if I end up having a Cuban baby because I am Cuban.
I thought you were Italian.
No, we're not doing this joke again. You know better.
What do you mean? What?
You know
What do you
better.
mean?
You know better. Stop it. Okay? You did the, it's a me, Mario. And then you did the whole Mick nickname. All right? I'm so sick and tired of this. By the way,
You invite me onto your show. Why do you get upset at me?
Out of the power rankings of people, or out of the power rankings of people who make Mick nicknames or Mick names, if you will, of me, all right? The people at Hurrdat Sports are by far the worst. The worst. The least creative, okay? The least creative and the least funny.
Wow. Okay.
What if your people keep calling me Mick Dingaling?
That's
I
funny.
contend that's a good one.
That's not a good one. That's not a good one at all.
Dingaling's a funny sound.
It is, yes. Can't contend with Dingaling.
I watched Sixth Sense. What a twist.
It wasn't spoiled for you? You knew? You didn't know going in?
Ever.
Wow.
No.
I'm really proud of you.
Everyone's very,
How
impressed
many
by it.
times did you get on your phone during that movie?
Twice.
Mm. Okay.
It got
good though.
It got a little long.
Well, again, I mean, you've got that TikTok attention span, so you can't go over like 90 minutes.
You cannot throw that at me when you're the one who literally is on TikTok.
Okay.
You use TikTok. I don't even have TikTok.
And my company uses TikTok. I post to TikTok, not personally. Like I'm not on TikTok. Not me. I don't want the governments to find me that way.
I think that the governments can find you because of where you're working on TikTok. I don't think
the government's going to find me for my viral Shadron content. Oh yeah. Oh no. How would they find me?
Your Shadron content was good. Don't shortchange yourself.
I got recognized in Shadron. I am like a local celebrity to those people. It was insane. It was awesome.
By the way, I'm not being sarcastic. I'm very happy for you. I know that actually means a lot to you. You love you. No, it is. You love those type of people. Those people are your people. You try to serve those people as best as you can. The people in Western Nebraska are your people because you're from that area and you relate to them and you try and represent them as much as you can. I'm not walking on eggshells here. I'm giving you a compliment. Put it up. Go UNK. Would you like to sound off about anything? Is there anything that has been on your sport mind that you would like to get out there? I will give you the floor, Austin Jacobson, and then I will ask you questions about it. Whatever your big heart desires to really delve into. Could be Husker related, could be Creighton related, could be college football related, could be anything related to you, whatever is on your mind or your heart.
He is currently drinking a mint julep, by the way, if that explains anything about what's happened in this interview.
This is absolutely ridiculous.
That's insane.
I'm not drunk. Don't put it out. No.
I never said enough to have that.
Yes, I'm old enough to have that.
Okay.
What have it?
Actually, what's funny is you. There's probably been other stuff that's happened this week that I'm sure you've delved into. Obviously, the Ravi rant that got viral on the internet yesterday, all that other stuff. I actually saw Josh Peterson's tweet about like 30 or maybe 30 minutes or an hour ago about him talking about kind of parity in college football. I find that so refreshing that we haven't actually grasped that college football has like underneath our feet completely changed its own landscape. But yet we just still recognize, it's a sport run by Alabama and Ohio State. And it's really not, right? Like I found that a very refreshing take. And on that same note too, I think that along the lines of, all the discourse that we've had from this week of, fan bases being a little bit too hostile towards their head coaches, all that other stuff. This was brought to my attention by DB earlier this week about how Nick Saban still is putting his neck on the line for Kalen DeBoer. I found that very interesting too, that with all, this parity in college football, the way that Indiana went about things and the way that it feels like there are so many more fast ways to have quick fixes in college football, there are still the traditionalists that are kind of holding the fabric of the sport together. And that might actually end up prevailing a little bit longer than any of these huge money resources do. Because for as long as there is going to be kind of the old head, quote unquote, generation of college football fans, that will always be a part of kind of the zeitgeist that goes around college football. So people will always still believe in development. People will still believe in, longer rebuilds, and people will still give good coaches that they perceive to be good coaches longer leashes, despite whatever the narrative and everything is around them, because those are usually the people that are likely in charge, right? There's not a lot of like us. There's not a lot of Gen Zers that are in AD roles that are going to be hiring or firing people. So I think that's a huge part of the conversation. I think sometimes we do forget, especially in all of this new era of college football.
I do think it's wildly interesting that I don't think it gets brought up enough, or maybe I'm listening to the wrong people, but I'm pretty confident when I say that it doesn't get brought up enough. Like, how really you can turn an NFL franchise around pretty quickly.
Yeah.
If you make the right trades and the right draft picks and you are very quick in your decisions and you're efficient with your money, you can go from being toward the bottom of the league to competing for a playoff spot. And then even a year later being one of the contenders in your conference in like 2, 3, 4 years, right? I mean, there's a reason we have, on average, 4 different teams making the playoffs in the NFL year in and year out. I don't think that gets talked about enough. And Austin, to your point, when we talk about college football, becoming more like the NFL, I think that's one of the aspects that get overlooked how quick how quickly you can turn things around. I think it's a great point. And you can make the argument you can do it quicker now in college than you can in the NFL as well.
Yeah, and I think to that same point that you were just saying too, like I think that there's a huge misperception in the NFL that if you are a really, really bad team, that it's not almost easier to just completely gut yourself and actually get back to being probably a playoff bound team, right? Like maybe not contending for Super Bowls, but be at least getting back to being a playoff team, because you can just eradicate your entire roster in the snap of a finger and you can kind of move on from bad contracts if you choose to be that way. Great example of this is the NFC South. So many years in a row, all those teams pick 8 to like 19. And all 4 of those teams never really supersede themselves into that next divisional round or NFC championship round of games, but they're also not near the top of having to draft the number 1 or number 2 pick every year. So their turnaround is almost much harder because they're playing the middle so much, because they're holding on to longer extended contracts. They hold on to coaches for a little bit too long, or their roster's a little bit too inflated. And they get this sense of, oh, we have to do right by our people, rather than just gutting the entire thing and moving forward.
I understand that perspective, but I also think they're in comparison to other sports, you can pick 15th and you can still feel really, really good about the guy that you drafted. You know, like look at and be like, this guy could be a Hall of Famer. This guy can turn things around. Like I think that the openness of the NFL draft and maybe I could go as far as to say of the different systems and how there are just different evaluation processes across the NFL can lead to teams having more sustained success and also can lead to teams flipping things around quicker than other sports comparatively. But you are right. I mean, I think that there are a plethora of teams that you can point to over the last couple of years and you can say kind of what you're alluding. Pick a slant, dude. You know, pick a slant. You're going to be bad or you're going to be really, really good. But I never think that a team is like, oh my God, they're done for 5 years. You know, like, oh, this is going to be hell. Where you look at the NBA and you can look at a bunch of teams and say, okay, well, they got 4 years until they can be good again. And then they probably got another 2 or 3 years before they have enough playoff experience to really go and win. It can be a really long, gutting process in some sports to eventually be very good. I don't think that's the way at all in the NFL. And I think that to what your original point was, the parity of college football is in part because of that, because you can flip things around quicker. And I'll never forget, like, this was back in 2024, right? So I guess Rule's second year. Someone was asking me, like, hey, why do I think the team was at its best when they played Colorado week 2? You know, why do I think that, why hasn't the team gotten better since then? And I had to explain to them, I go, well, you know, they've had, like, guys have been banged up and guys have had some injuries and guys that you thought were going to be key contributors because they got banged up, you know, haven't been able to perform at that level. And Nebraska isn't the type of program yet where you can just recycle, right? Where you go, hey, we lost a guy. And when Georgia loses a guy, who do they replace him with? A 5-star, you know, all-American high school type dude. And then they're good to go. Georgia, Alabama, all those SEC teams, a lot of these elite teams, they don't have that depth anymore. You know, when guys get hurt now, they don't replace them with those top dudes anymore because they're elsewhere. And I think that that's another factor into everything else that we talk about in terms of the competitiveness of the game.
Yeah. I mean, and that's I think when people think of the word parity, especially in college football, they assume it means, okay, Northern Illinois is like going to win the national championship next year. And that's just not what parity truly means. Like parity is more like Indiana was a great example of it. But, yeah, right. But I mean, it is, I don't know, like I really think that we are in not a golden era of college football by any means. I think obviously that's to be determined later, but I do think that we are in a great era of competitive football that we're not giving it the credit where it's due. And it is because we see it as a top 4 or 8 seed. I mean, a lot of people didn't think Miami was going to make a run to the college football playoff national championship game this past year. And there they were, right? So, I mean, there's big name conferences, big name teams, big name programs that will make these type of runs. And you kind of have to just assume that not every story is written the same.
What do you say to the people who go, Austin, I preferred it the way it was. Austin, I preferred it when it was only 6 teams that could win. I preferred it when it was really only Bama, Ohio State, Georgia, Notre. I preferred it when it was that small fraternity of teams And then it would be exciting if you got a different team every once in a while. What do you say to those people who like that so much?
It's probably unpopular amongst many people, but I think the real conversation and the best comparison you can make for this is when you watch the NCAA tournament, you love a Cinderella and you love the upsets, right? When it's March Madness and all that stuff. But when you get to the Final Four, do you really want to watch Loyola Chicago in the Final Four against Duke? No. Do you really want to watch that? No, you don't. Like now the Butler run was obviously very fun, but when Butler lost, it was like, okay, I mean, now we have this great Cinderella that we can always like look to and say it could have been them, right? But when we get to the Final Four teams in a college football playoff and you're looking at, okay, so we've got LSU, we've got Alabama, we've got Ohio State, and then at the 4th spot is Iowa State. Now, I'm not saying people aren't going to be rooting for Iowa State, that their fan base and people wouldn't latch onto them by any means, but wouldn't you rather have that be Notre Dame? Wouldn't you rather have that be like one of the more premier programs?
But I agree with you. I agree with you. And I would rather it be Notre Dame. And I would rather there be a little bit more hype and more marketing.
Yeah,
I would also, I would also though push back and just say this: like, if you're going to build other teams to eventually be that, they have to be there, right?
Yeah, that's
like
fair.
if you're going to add to having teams be bigger brands and be excited for more teams when they face off against each other, you got to have one of those instances where it's like you're not always getting the brands that were super big who were built all the way back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s and 2000s. Now, I think a great example of that, Austin, is Indiana, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Indiana isn't that type of team at all, and I think it's safe to say we will never think of Indiana as a blue blood, but because of what they've accomplished, right? They now are a big enough brand at this point where if they play a big team, you're excited for that game, you know? So I think there's kind of is the balance of, and I think I'm adding a little bit to your point of having those big brands, but also being cognizant of, because of the parity that we have, there are other teams that we're going to get very excited for. And I think that's fun. I think that's a ton of fun.
All right. So before I let you go, can I give you a team of the week?
Give me a team of the week.
Team of the week for Nebraska high school sports. And this could be for anything. Maybe we switch it up, right?
I love this.
The Crimson Pride of Omaha Roncalli Catholic just
tell me
won
about
their first River Cities Conference tournament since 1999. It is a consolidation boys soccer program of Brownwell Talbot, as well as Omaha Concordia, and of course, Omaha Roncalli. They are arguably at this point in Class B boys soccer, probably the hottest team heading into postseason in districts. They will host a district site. They're likely going into the state tournament. They will go up against a couple of other buzzsaws that are very, very good. They've beaten a lot of old rivals this season, and they are phenomenal. So I know you're not a huge soccer guy, soccer head yourself, Matt, but
no,
Roncalli is a team to watch out for. And Morrison Stadium State Soccer, great environment, great venue as well. So I'm going to make you go actually to a state soccer event with me. And you're going to want to tailgate with the Pride fans. I promise you're going to want to.
Okay. But you'll be working. What if I just went and did tailgate with the fans?
That's what I want you to do. I want you to get the Roncalli experience. You deserve that, Matt.
I do deserve that. I deserve nice things and great concession stands, which everybody talks about.
And that's what they do better than anybody.
Can I get a movie of the week though? Because I watch movies now.
Oh, great! So I heard that the film club movie this week Shin Godzilla.
That is correct.
Oh yes, the movie club movie is Shin Godzilla.
That is a great pick. I don't know why I got like into this like big like Godzilla like theme over the past like 2 weeks. It's probably because mine is Zero trailer like dropped and everything, but that's a fantastic one. I'm actually going to put you back into maybe kid mode. Go back and watch Into the Spider-Verse. I just picked up those movies again.
Yes, I will watch that.
Yes. One of the best theater experiences I've ever had between those two movies, and the third one better not let me down. Truthfully,
I shockingly enough, I've seen both of those movies already, and I love them both. I think Sunflower might be my favorite song of all time.
Ooh, Sunflower? No,
yeah,
you've got to go.
You're a sunflower.
The second movie has the better soundtrack, in my opinion.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, they both have banger soundtracks. I think the second movie is better than the first one.
As in the whole movie, or what do you mean?
The whole movie.
Yes, I agree. Across the
entirety
Spider-Verse.
of the movie.
Yes, yeah.
The entirety of the movie. Now, the third movie better be because the second movie set up the third movie to be a banger.
Listen, the second movie is this generation's Empire Strikes Back. Like, truthfully, it is quite arguably the greatest sequel. It is arguably the greatest sequel I've ever seen. Yeah. I would put it up there with Aliens. I would put it up there with Empire Strikes Back. I'd put it up there with Godfather 2. It is like in that Mount Rushmore of sequels.
Do you think that Far From Home isn't up there?
No. That movie does not hold up as well as other opportunities.
I think
Also,
Far
the
From
third
Home
movie.
is a
So
beautiful second movie. Oh, wait, no. The one with
the second one. Oh yeah, no. You're completely wrong. No. That's nowhere near there. I mean, that one's probably that's probably in Fargo more than it's anywhere near Mount Rushmore.
All right, Austin Jacobson, always here to crap on my movie opinions and somewhat respect my sport opinions. I appreciate you, my friend. Thank you so much. You're the man.
No problem. Enjoy that julep.
Enjoyed.
Working on it. Don't you worry, buddy.
You don't got to tell me that another time. We'll see, AJ.
Not my first.
I don't know if he's gone or not. My screen is frozen. It's been frozen the entire time.
Oh, yeah. No, he's gone. It's just you and me, friend.
All right, great. Coming up next, balls. Here on Middays with Matt.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
All right. Before we get into balls, we want to know the Bananas and Bangers sweepstakes. What's your walk-up song? Let us know, and you can win a 4-pack of sweet tickets to the Savannah Bananas, who play at Memorial Stadium on June 13th. $200, and you get a free duct cleaning value at $900 from McCarthy's 1-hour heating and air. You can enter online at 1620thezone.com, which this Bananas and Bangers sweepstakes is powered by McCarthy's 1-hour heating and air. Let's get into balls, Josh Hudson.
Well, with all balls, there's good balls, bad balls, and ugly balls. Let's start with the good. The Reds.
Oh,
they have the same record as the Los Angeles Dodgers. They're 20-11.
Can I be real with you?
Please. You probably hate the Reds.
When I found out a couple of years ago that they got Theo Epstein, I thought, oh no.
Oh no, here we go.
And then they got Tito.
Yeah.
And
That's the piece.
And I go, what's going on? And I never had to worry about the Reds before.
That's right.
My dad had to worry about the Reds.
Big Red Machine.
My grandfather had to worry about the Reds. I never had to worry. But I mean, Tucker Barnhart and Joey Votto, I didn't worry about those guys.
That's right. Ellie De La Cruz has taken that next step. 35 hits, 10 home runs, 26 runs scored, 24 runs batted in, 8 stolen bases. He's a freak. He's a freak. He's like 9 feet tall.
Get me pictures of Spider-Man. He's a freak.
Also, Mike Trout.
Yeah, still hitting it. Yeah,
he's back, ladies and gentlemen.
No, is he hurt yet though?
Well, I mean, let's
be real.
It's May 1st.
Let's be real.
The first month of the season, Mike Trout has produced quite significantly.
First month, Mike is a great Mike.
10 home runs, 5 stolen bases. I didn't know Mike Trout could steal a base.
I didn't know he could run anymore.
Yeah, a 1,000 OPS for
Wow,
Mike
that's pretty
Trout.
good.
Yeah, it's kind of where you want to be.
He won an MVP this year, my God.
That would be insane. The Pittsburgh Pirates, 16-16 is their record. That's not so bad. They're last in the NL Central. That is bad.
That's pretty bad.
But they would lead the AL Central if they were
Dude, aren't the Sox,
eligible.
the White Sox are 2 games out of the lead of the AL Central right now?
Something like that.
That's ridiculous.
Tigers and Guards atop the AL Central.
It's disgusting.
With a 500 record. I understand. It's May 1st. It'll even itself out.
We don't know anything yet. That's what Mike Farron keeps
That's
telling
right.
us. Mike keeps going on USC. I listen to all of Farron's interviews, and he keeps going. It's too early to tell. My biggest question to all of you baseball people out there: when is the cutoff? When is it no longer too early? Can I get a drawn in the line? This is when we can tell.
So
Please?
Farron will come on USC in like August and September and go, it's still too early to
That's
tell.
ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. I feel like
69 games.
Nice. The All-Star break is like
we know
the absolute late. Like now, I would cut it off way before that.
Okay.
But I think by Memorial Day, you kind of know who's good and who's bad. But the All-Star break is generally like the latest, like, I don't know, anything can happen.
Sure.
Point of the season.
Good point. I just want to know. All you baseball people keep telling me, it's too early to tell, Matt. It's too early to tell. It's too early to tell. I'm like, all right, MFer, when can I tell? When am I allowed to tell? Just let me know, and I'll follow, because I'm good at this. I'm good at following the baseball people's rules. So I'll follow your rules. You just let me know. What's the good, the bad, who's the ugly?
The ugly is, well, since we did this segment last, 2 managers in baseball have lost their job. Boston fired Cora.
I feel terrible for Tom.
Philly fired their manager and then offered the job to Cora, who said, no, I'll be going to Puerto Rico with my family this summer. Thank you.
Wait. I can't wait until Cora's managing the Marlins.
And then the Mets manager, whoever that is this week, received the dreaded vote of confidence from ownership this week. The Mets are like 10 and something, 10 and
10 and 21, I think.
10 something like that. They're not good.
There's nothing more scary than when your owner says, we believe in you.
That's right. Mets embark on a 9-game West Coast road trip and then come back and play the Yankees over a weekend series. So Give it about 3 weeks, and the Mets will be looking for a new manager.
All right.
Balls.
Coming up next.
This is the one you've been waiting for, people.
The main event of the afternoon. Matt McMaster's Super 6 Derby picks. Super 6. I cannot wait for this. My old Kentucky home.
Oh!
Cheers to you. Cheers to me. Cheers to the roses. Coming up next on Middays with Matt. This is a big segment. First, tell us what we're watching, Josh.
Okay, well, we are watching NBA playoffs this weekend. We got a trio of game sixes tonight. Pistons Magic, 6 o'clock on Prime. All three of these are on Prime, by the way. Cavs, Raptors, and then Lakers, Rockets. Game 7 between the Sixers and Celtics. 6:30 tomorrow night on NBC right after the Kentucky Derby. Any game 7s that stem from tonight's action will be played on Sunday. NHL trio of game 6s tonight. Lightning, Canadiens, 6 o'clock on ESPN2. Montreal in the power position in that one. Buffalo leads 3-2. They look to eliminate the Bruins in Boston tonight at 6:30 on ESPN. And then Utah hosts a do-or-die game against Vegas at 9 o'clock on ESPN. Game 1 of the second round series between the Flyers and Carolina Hurricanes, 7 o'clock tomorrow night on ABC. Any game 7 stemming from tonight's action in the NHL will be played on Sunday. Baseball, Reds, Pirates on Apple, Royals, Mariners as well. Big Fox Saturday night has Dodgers, Cardinals at 6 o'clock. And then Sunday, a pair of games on Peacock, 11:35 between the Blue Jays and the Twins, and your nightcap, Rangers, Tigers, Nebraska baseball in Columbus to take on the Buckeyes all weekend. Saturday, that's tomorrow, 6 o'clock on Big Ten Network. Regular old Big Ten Network. Lacrosse must be winding down or something. I don't know. Nebraska softball at Penn State all weekend long. I have all 3 games being on Big Ten Network. I don't believe that to be the case, but that's what the Nebraska schedule says. Creighton, their quest for first place in the Big East against St. John's out in Queens this weekend. All 3 games on ESPN+. And the 152nd Kentucky Oaks is on tonight on NBC. 7 o'clock start there. Your post time for the Derby tomorrow, 6:57 Eastern. So let me do the math. That'd be 5:57
Great math
here in Omaha. And finally, one for me. Tales from the Crypt is streaming for the first time ever on the horror service Shudder. 1 season a week for the next, I think it's 8 weeks. Season 1 drops tonight, Matt.
What are the Tales and what are the Crypts?
Tales from the Crypt, the Crypt Keeper. It was like a updated, it was like Twilight Zone. It was just scary stories.
Yeah, hit the trumpet. All right. This might be the biggest segment we do in this show.
Kill your bookmaker.
All right, folks, let's talk right now. I'm going to kill your bookmaker. I'm going to rip his throat out. I will blow this man out. I will step on his throat until the man chokes. Let me tell you how. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. Dog. Winners. I'm on a roll.
Dude, you got to love dogs, right?
All right. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a 5-horse, $4 exacta, okay? So basically, 5 horses. If one of these 2 horses finishes 1 and then 2, you win. And then typically, so we have 5 horses and we got to go first and second. And then when they show it on the screen, how much you win, it's a $2 amount. So we're betting a 5-horse. When you go up to the box, you're going to go, madam, I like a 6, 19, 9, 8, 14, $4 exacta. Okay?
It's a ridiculous amount of numbers you've
All
just
right.
said.
You go, I would like a 6, 19, 9, 8, 14, $4 exacta box, please. Okay. Then you're going to go, I'd like the 14 Patente, a Bob Baffert horse.
That's your guy. No, I might put a couple shekels on Bob
He
Baffert.
won the San Felipe Derby.
That's a big derby.
Beat Robusta and a great closer. He's a deep closer. He lost to Santa Anita in a great sprint against So Happy, who we're also going to bet So Happy. So Happy is the 8 horse.
That's a roided up horse.
He's won. So Happy's running a 9 and a 9.5 furlong race. It has the legs to go. It has the stamina to go. Some great breeding from So Happy as well.
Giggity.
So we're going to go 14 Patente to win outright, $15, 23-1. Is what Patente is trading at right now. Had a great workout. 57 seconds, 5 furlong workout a couple of days ago. It's a fast horse, has a lot of potential. It has the potential to get better.
What color
to run
is it?
faster. I believe he's the maroon and gold horse. We're also going to go with our long shot, 36-1 to win the Derby. Golden Tempo. Okay.
Oh, I am going to be in Iowa tonight.
Golden Tempo is a horse, has run long races as well. I actually messed it up. So Happy has the breeding to go longer, but Golden Tempo is the one who's run the longer races and has the stamina proven. Okay. Also, another one has worked positively through its first 3 races, has the potential to get better, some really good speed figures, has a good amount of rest going into the start. Golden Tempo, 36-1. Now, if we go back to the exacta, I have the 19 in the exacta. That's Golden Tempo. I have the 14 in the exacta. That's Potente. The 6 I have in the exacta, that's Commandment, okay? Won the Florida Derby, has the most wins out of all the horses here coming in, 6-1.
It's the one all the John Fantas of the world are going to pick on the broadcast.
This is the thing about Commandment, okay? Is Commandment good enough to pick outright at 6-1? Absolutely not. It's not worth the money. But this is a fierce horse. This is a horse that doesn't quit. He was given a terrible ride by Flavian Pratt in the Florida Derby. Who would have thought, right? Who could have ever thought Flavian gave him a bad ride?
That's a person's name.
We
hate that guy.
Never saw that happen before, right? Let me tell you this right now. It's a tough horse. It's just determined. It's just a determined horse. He's going to be there at the end. He's going to be there at the end. He's going to compete for this win. You got to put the 6 in your exacta. You got to put So Happy in your exacta. The Dam has the who helped breed him. That's the one. You got the stamina. Absolutely incredible. You got to put the 9 in your exacta as well. The Puma. He was right there. Just how Sham was right there and the Kentucky Derby the entire time with Secretariat. The Puma's been right there the entire time with Commandment throughout all the races.
One of the best horse names of all time.
Every time the red horse was there, we were there too. That's what Puma's saying about Commandment, okay? Puma, a great stallion, a phenomenal horse, another one. Now, here's the thing about Puma. Here's what that Puma's got going for him that Commandment doesn't. Puma can get better. Puma is showing that he can progress and he can run the better races, all right? He's the type of horse, doesn't give up, fierce horse. This is one where you're getting a little bit more money back on the Puma because he's lost to Commandment. But I think just a lot of the trends that we've seen, some horses losing to other horses and then beating them again, I think the Puma can do that with Commandment. 14, Potente. This Potente thing.
This is your darling.
Bob Baffert. He's got another winner in this horse right now.
You betting against Bob Baffert in the Kentucky Derby? Come on. Come on.
This California horseman, he's got it. Juan Hernandez, good jockey, riding him. Potente to win. Currently trading 23-1. All right. Matt's Super 6. Here's what we're betting. You go up. Madam, I'd like a 6, 19, 9, 8, 14 Zach the box. $4, please. I'd like 15 on Potente to win. I'd like 15 on Golden Tempo to win. And a little sprinkle for you. Just a little sprinkle because we love Bill Mott. But Riley Mott, his son, is the next guy up. Little sprinkle here. Incredible. 11. He's I don't know what his current, his odds have fluctuated. I think he's around 27-1 right now, but Incredible, the number 11 horse.
It's moving.
$10 right now. Just sprinkle $10 on Incredible to win. It's worth it. When the horse can run at its best, its speed figures are up there. All right? That's what we're going with. 14 to win, 11 to win, 19 to win, 6, 19, 9, 8, 14. Zach the box. Book it. On Sportsmanlike Conduct and the crossover coming up next.